On 97.5, it's going to be an Eagle football day. We got to get deep because we've been shirking our Eagle responsibilities. Even though the Phillies are in a big series starting tonight against the Atlanta Braves, and they're all lined up with their aces, Wheeler, Nola, and maybe Christopher Sanchez pitching the third game. And on the heels of what we were talking about yesterday, news breaks that Austin Riley has a broken hand after getting hit with a pitch, which to me now puts the Phillies on easy street. It's like a comfort piece, isn't it? Yeah, Yelich is out for Milwaukee. Riley's out for the Braves. The Braves are having all kinds of problems. I know you're worried about the Dodgers, but you shouldn't be worried about Milwaukee anymore. So the Phillies, we'll give you some odds on this game tonight. The Phillies in Atlanta are a favorite tonight.
Well, they should be.
Favorite.
You have Wheeler on the mound tonight, right?
Yeah, but they have Ronaldo Lopez on the mound. But this is going to be an Eagle day because there's a lot of speculation and a lot of analysis that's going on right now with the Eagles. And the only people that haven't done it are us, the callers, the listeners, the fans out there. I need to know how fans feel about what their fortunes will be this year. We can give our predictions, and we can go over the most obvious things, what we know the concerns are, whether there's going to be defensive improvement, whether the offensive line on the right side can gel, whether they can find a third receiver who can play in the slot, the linebackers, the rotation, and finally the head coach now as the CEO, no longer running the offense. So we can detail what the concerns are, but the predictions are all over the map. Now, we went over something yesterday where they were 11th best in the league. There's a power ranking by ESPN today that has them 5th. But the story I want to focus on is a more analytical story. And it's done by a guy who does a lot of analytical work when he analyzes the NFL, Bill Barnwell of ESPN. And he is making a case that the Eagles will experience a decline in the year 2024. A decline. Now, why does he say that? Well, he points out analytically that the Eagles' point differential was only a +5 in 2022. And in 2023, the record in games decided by 7 points or fewer was 7-3. And he says because the Eagles dropped from 14-3 to 2022 to 11-6 in 2023, the evidence suggests they were lucky to come away with those 11 victories, and henceforth, they will decline this year even further because that's the way it goes. The Eagles outscored their opposition, Bill, by 0.3 points per game. If you take 73 teams analytically, from 89 to 2022, that outscored the teams they played by an average of between 0 and 1 points per game, which, as far as my math goes, 0.3 is between that. And you look at how they perform, just 11 of those 73 teams produced double-digit win totals. He is making a case that there will be such a decline analytically, the Eagles won't win 10 games this year. Your thoughts?
Well, to put that +5 point differential into perspective, last year the Cowboys were +194 and the 49ers were +193. So he's making a good point. But what this brings me back to, Mike, is a conversation you and I had last week, which is when we want to talk about this epic collapse last season, the team wasn't that good at 10-1, Mike.
Well,
this is showing you they weren't that good.
You're probably right. I always look at it the other way, like a good team does enough to win, even though they don't win by monster scores, and they did go 7-3 in one-score games last year.
But extremely unlikely when you look at the numbers analytically that they would have gone 10-1 to start the season with the point differential that they did have. One of the alarming things, and you didn't need the statistics to see it, but he talks about it in here, the second half of the season last year, their pass rush was non-existent. They were 30th in sack rate the second half of the year and 28th in pressure rate the second half of the year. That has to change for this team to have success this year. It has to.
All right. Now listen, you can go over last season and say, boy, they escaped by the skin of their teeth. I get it. I totally get it. I mean, even in week 1, they escaped against a bad football team.
Mac Jones.
Yeah, the Patriots did get to the red zone, and they didn't score. They had to score a touchdown. They didn't score a touchdown. And then there was the Ron Rivera not going for 2 to try to win the game, even though at that time I agree with the decision. I don't like going for 2 to try to win a game. I want to give my team the best chance possibly to win.
No, he should have gone for it. Riverboat Ron?
I don't
Come
like
on.
that. Yeah, Riverboat Ron. You can't just give a loss up by failing to make a 2-point conversion. You trust your players. You get it in overtime. You trust your players. That's the way I always look at it.
Now, Mike, that game, though, we could actually go back to that game as to when Jalen Hurts started to tune out Nick Sirianni. Because if you remember correctly, they didn't have to throw deep at the end of the game. If they would have, they didn't need to score that touchdown at the end of the game. Jalen changes the play, goes deep to A.J. Brown. It works. They get a touchdown. They left too much time on the clock.
Yeah.
And then Sam Howell, who looked like Tom Brady against that defense, brings him right down the field. That was a problem.
Yeah, it was a problem. And then there was the week 9 against the Cowboys, where they survived it because the Cowboys got to the 6-yard line. A false start and a sack and delay a game penalty to mess up that game. And in week 11 with the Chiefs, Marquez Scantling drops that pass that would have gave it time. We all looked at it because we were doing all the post-game shows last year. So I get it. But can you – here's the thing. Here's the question. Sometimes analytics can be full of soup, as my grandmother used to say. She would like to have used the other word, but kids were around, so she used the soup. She went soup instead of the other.
That was nice of her.
4-letter S word, right? So I don't know. Can I look at analytics and say, okay, because of these projections, because it always happens this way, the Eagles are now going to decline further than where they were last year, and not win double-digit games, which means they won't win the division, obviously.
Well, it's hard because the team improved significantly, you would assume. You look at it and say, oh, well, they definitely improved.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing that fans need. I want to hear from fans. Do the fans feel this team has improved?
Well, Bill Barnwell, who wrote this article, goes on to talk about something that maybe we are not given enough attention to, and it is the loss of Jason Kelce. See, I've kind of glossed over it and said I think Cam Jurgens is going to be able to transition to center and be just fine. But one of the things that Barnwell highlights in here is he calls it their get-out-of-jail-free card last year, and he's referring to the tush push and how effective that was. Really, when you look at last season, the only thing that was consistent all year was how effective the tush push was, and says, can it be as effective without Jason Kelce right there in the middle? And that is an interesting dynamic now to this team, because do you even need the tush push with Saquon Barkley? Are they still going to try to run that play? You don't have Kelce anymore.
I get it. To me, it's more important that the whole right side has to have some kind of a gelling situation going on with a new right guard. We don't even know who that is yet, and the center. Yeah, I get it with the tush push. It's very important. But, you just said you think that they're improved. Now, here are the 5 concerns, and I need to ask you whether they have improved. Can we say definitively that they have made defensive improvement?
I think on the back end, yes. I think I certainly feel better about the secondary than I did last year.
You're looking at it paper-wise, though. Can we definitively say, and until we see it, can we definitively say they made defensive improvement?
Definitively, no. Especially considering that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson hasn't been healthy.
Okay. Can we then say the second problem, obviously, is the offensive line? Can we say definitively that they'll be okay with 2 new guys in there?
Definitively, no.
All right? The slot receiver or the third receiver. Can we say that they have now they probably flatlined, which we don't really know. And last year they had nobody really.
Last year, Mike, Quez Watkins, Olamide Zaccheaus, and Julio Jones combined 380 yards.
That wasn't good enough. But I don't know if it's good enough this year either, because we don't know.
I don't think he's here yet. Whoever the wide receiver 3 is, I think is not here
maybe you're right. The linebackers, I think we can speak. It was such a low bar. I think we could say that they've improved there because they got at least a guy who used to be an all-pro in that slot. They didn't have that before. They had the Zach Cunninghams of the world.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel better about the linebackers, but it's hard to be definitive and say, yes, they're going to be a lot better. Devin White got benched last year for a reason. N'Kobe Dean hasn't really been able to contribute for a reason. Zach Bond's never played the position for a reason. So when you think about that, yes, on paper and everything we're hearing out of camp is great, but definitively, no.
All right. And finally, the coach. Now, I know you are very optimistic about Mr. Sirianni.
Hell yeah.
I know you believe that he deserved the chance to be back. I didn't. So now that he is in kind of a different role where he's the CEO who's just roving around different rooms as the position coaches get their guys together, I have no idea whether he's a good NFL coach. None. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't have any clue that he's an NFL coach or it's going to get any better because he stepped away from calling plays. Is that fair or not?
I think it's a little unfair.
You think it's unfair?
Because you say he stepped away from calling plays. You go back to 2022 when you had two very good coordinators in Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon. I know Gannon is a polarizing figure, but the reality is he was a good DC. He really was. So if Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio can be high-caliber coordinators, then I don't have any concerns about Sirianni because I think on game days, he's usually a pretty good game day coach, makes the right decisions usually.
All right. This is what I need to know from the fans, the football fans in the Delaware Valley, the Eagle fans are diehards. I need to know how you feel about this team's fortunes. 610-632-0975 is how you get in. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Back after this. Out there, it's downright. This morning it was downright chilly.
Felt like football weather, didn't it?
It really did. August has come. It's weird. This is weird to shift because we don't experience dog days of August anymore. We experience dog days of June. The heat of June cooked my tomatoes.
It was hot, man.
It's terrible. I didn't grow any fruit this year. There's no fruit is coming from my plants.
Ray, did you know that a tomato is a fruit?
I did, yes. Did learn that.
Well, it might be vegetable. Some people classify it as a vegetable. What I'm saying is that it didn't produce the actual fruit of the vine.
No, but I do think a tomato is considered a fruit. It has seeds inside.
Yeah, but I think they changed that criteria.
Isn't that the key?
I think they went back to vegetable.
When I was in school, they had changed it to fruit.
Yeah,
so it might have been changed back.
I think they changed it back.
Pluto also wasn't a planet
But,
while I was in school.
you know, I'm an old school tomato grower. And it is essential for me to grow tomatoes because I like to put them in jars so I have the tomato pulp where I can make the fresh marinara. You know? And I got no fruit this year.
So what are you doing? You going and buying them at the grocery store?
You can't buy a good tomato at a grocery store. They produce these tomatoes now that are more transportable. They have tougher skin, and they don't have any taste. They now genetically engineer these tomatoes so they can ship them to places, but you can't buy a good. Even Jersey tomatoes have that same type of growth now. They're not growing them like the ones you used to get, where they were juicy and meat, and they would go bad quickly. But sometimes you can get them at Whole Foods. You get heirlooms, that are nice.
So the Missanelli marinara struggled this year.
I don't have any fruit. I haven't got one tomato the whole summer. Now, I got some San Marzanos that are green, but birds usually steal those.
So our YouTube chat's checking in, say, go to the Amish market. Said you can get them there.
What's in an Amish market? What, I'm going to click my fingers and one pop up in front of my house?
Well, there's one down in Turnersville. There's another in Mullica Hill.
What are you, that is a Jersey guy.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do to get the right tomatoes, man.
Come on, man.
I think they have a farmer's market out here at Wambala on Wednesdays, I want to say.
Yeah, I think
but I'm
you're right.
telling you, the tomatoes they sell aren't the same as the tomatoes that you used to be able to buy. They have genetically engineered them to withstand shipping. And so they're not juicy and tasty like they used to be.
Genetically engineered reminds me of our starting quarterback, Jalen Hurts. You think he was genetically engineered, Ray?
No.
That's the funny thing that makes me chuckle.
Listen, man, I put a lot of effort into the tomato plants, right? And like sometimes I'll plant too many tomato plants, but I spaced them out pretty nicely this year. And they experienced great growth, and the weather just cooked them.
Yeah.
I was watering them constantly.
And my wife just texted in. She agrees with Mike on the tomatoes. When I get them from my client's garden, they're much redder than they are at the grocery store. Is that true?
They're different. The ones they sell now, even when they advertise, what do they put? Jersey Fresh? They put Jersey Fresh on it, right? That's the vegetable. But they're not Jersey Fresh. They're different. They're not the old Jersey tomatoes that you used to buy, where you can count on them being a certain taste and a certain texture. Now they engineer them where they're not that because it's all about cost. You can't waste. They have to survive the travel and the shipping and on the stand for days now. So they're engineered different. They mess with the seeds, the DNA of the tomato, even the Jersey Fresh ones.
But then you're going to have to travel to get them, Mike.
I'm not traveling.
You're going to have to do what it takes if you want that marinara sauce.
Traveling. I put a lot of effort into it, man. I till the soil. I fertilize the soil. I get the manure in there. I put the stakes in there. I get a healthy stalk growth. I got no fruit.
People are saying
like ornamental now, my tomato plants.
People on YouTube are saying you have that back in my day energy right now.
No, I like a tomato. I'm a fan of the tomato. I'm Italian.
Fights prostate
we do a lot
cancer
of things
too,
with
Mike.
tomatoes.
You know that? Tomatoes fight prostate cancer.
I didn't even know about that. I didn't even know. All I know is a nice fresh tomato that I can jar, makes a nice marinara, better than something I can buy in a can.
Now, I'm with you on it.
And it's,
My dad had a
Okay.
different problem this year with the tomatoes.
Well,
He's
your
had the
dad grows
wildlife.
them?
Yeah. Wildlife was giving him problems.
yeah, the wildlife is a problem. That's why I put a fence around mine.
Yeah, he's had no
But
luck.
I got the heat was bad for the tomato this year. I don't know if anybody experienced it. Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
No, the heat was.
But
Killer.
I don't know of anybody who's grown their own home garden where they get a lot of tomatoes, whether they were successful this year or whether they're not successful this year.
Well, we've been getting a ton from one of my wife's clients, so I got to get her
Oh,
tips.
really?
Yeah, I got to get her tips.
Well, maybe the Jersey soil is different.
It's possible.
We got some people on the text line trying to help you out here.
Really?
Yeah, we got an unnamed texter here telling you to go to Lancaster and buy from the roadside. We got an Amish market off of 926 in Westchester. And someone else complaining about the ripened tomatoes.
Well, what are the Amish doing to grow the special tomatoes?
Probably not the same type of genetic engineering.
You think
A
so?
little
They
more
got to do the
all
same
natural.
transporting. They got to leave them. I got a farmer's market in Ardmore I go to. I still can't get a good tomato.
Yeah, but they're not transporting them as far because they can only go by horseback. Right? It's only horse and buggy.
Dude, I'm not making road trips so I can get tomatoes. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole purpose of growing your own. That's what's the problem here. I'm a failure.
Yeah.
A whole summer with no fruit, not one tomato.
You don't have a green thumb, man. What do you want me
I
to tell
got
you?
a green thumb. I've been able to grow tomatoes my whole life.
So do you think you should start growing tomatoes earlier next year or later?
I have no idea what it is. What this whole thing was. I had the only thing I could think of is the weather. It was so unusually hot in June. That's where the tomato plant gets its structure, right? Well, I think that the heat, just killed its fruit making capacity.
Now, I don't know if
No, I need Viagra.
I don't know if Ray
for my tomato
Tings,
plants.
Ray Tings on YouTube. I don't know if he's being a troll or not, or if this is a serious question. Mike, have you ever had Prego? Just as good as homemade.
Are you, dude? Well, whoever that guy is, that's an arrestable offense.
He's trolling.
That guy needs
He's
to be
trolling.
arrested.
Yeah, he's trolling.
What's the matter with you?
Prego.
Yeah,
Your sister.
my grandmother would call right in if I started talking about canned tomato sauce.
Or jar.
Yeah.
All right, Eagle fans, you're disappointing me. You're disappointing me. This is the time where you got to dig in. I need to hear from you cowards out there about how you feel about the fortunes of the Eagles. You've never not had opinions on an upcoming season, especially this one.
You're right, Mike. Eagles fans usually have strong opinions.
I
We haven't
demand
heard
to
them.
hear from you right now, or I'm going home. The tend to my tomatoes. 610-632-0975. Back after this. Side, I forgot to introduce Ray and Bill today. We just kind of rolled on.
You're too frustrated by the tomatoes.
No, I'm frustrated about a lot of things. I'm frustrated about Eagle fans right now because I'm looking at this as a very pivotal season, and I don't know if Eagle fans are laying on their hands because they think they're going to be good and they're okay. That they're thinking that they're the best team in the NFC East, or they're not feeling anything yet about this team because they really haven't seen anything. But you got a situation where there's like the two most pivotal people involved with the Eagles are the quarterback and the coach, both of them needing to rebound, despite the other things about the defensive improvement, the offensive line shifts, and the slot receiver, and the linebackers, and the analytics, which are against them at this point.
The analytics are against them in certain respects, but here's a good one that also came from the Barnwell article. Last year, they went from the 10th toughest schedule to this year, the 8th easiest schedule.
That should help them.
That should certainly help.
It should help them. Okay, we have some text. It's funny because we're getting more text about the tomatoes than the Eagles. This could be a tomato day where we just talk tomatoes.
A lot of people upset about the tomatoes. Unnamed texter, all the tomatoes cracked because of the heat. We got Brody from Hightstown, New Jersey. Love the show, Mike. Glad to have you back. My sister-in-law's family owns the Lee Turkey Farm, and she said that farmers have said this is a historically bad year for tomatoes. I have great cherry tomatoes at my home garden, but the larger ones have not come in much, and the few that have been terrible.
Uh-huh. See?
We got
the heat. This is all about global warming ruining my garden.
Shane in the north. My wife's tomatoes didn't do well, but the cucumbers did unbelievably.
Cucumbers take up too much space. Like I grew. I know how zucchini spreads out all over the place. I don't grow that because it takes up too much space. So I tried yellow squash. I got some yellow squash this year. I got yellow squash. I got peppers. I didn't get tomatoes.
What do you do with the yellow squash? How do you cook that up?
I mix it with zucchini and a nice tomato sauce with onions and garlic.
That sounds all right.
Yeah.
We've got an explanation on why the tomatoes are harder here. This is from Chris in Lehigh Valley. The tomatoes purchased at stores are harder because they are picked when they are still green. Then they artificially ripen them by exposure to gas to turn them red quickly. This is why they are harder with less flavor. His source, he runs a vineyard with a garden in the Lehigh Valley.
Yeah, that's true. But also I think they've genetically engineered them to withstand disease and transportation and bruising and all that kind of stuff.
One more for you here. Randy from Wynwood. Doubling down. He was the first person to tell you to drive out to Lancaster and buy from the roadside. Roadside is the only way they grow old school fruit. So, Randy, adamant on you having to take a road trip out to Lancaster.
All right, so I take a road trip to Lancaster. By the time I bring them in the house, they're spoiled. That's how long that trip is. I want to go around the corner, buy a tomato, be satisfied. I got to go to Lancaster?
We all want things, Mike.
It's outrageous in this day and age where things are supposed to be made easier for you.
I bet you Nick Sirianni's got some good tomatoes in his backyard.
We've got an Amish market closer to you, potentially.
There's one in PA?
Bristol Pike.
Bristol Pike?
In Bristol, PA.
That's an hour away. I grew up in Bristol.
Yeah, he's not there anymore.
I tried to help there.
Yeah, I'm not in Bristol anymore. I don't live there. I live here, where the studio is.
Well, I tried.
Thank you, Ray. I appreciate that very much. All right. Shane in Knoxville. We're going to start us off here. Not Johnny Knoxville. Shane in Knoxville. Shane, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
How you doing, Mike? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, Shane. Now, I want you to dig in as an Eagle fan to this whole thing. What are they?
Well, I believe a couple of years ago they were talking about the Georgia defense is an NFL level defense, and we picked up a lot of their main pieces, and I think that they've had a couple of years to grow into NFL level players.
Are you doubting? Oh, you're saying they're going to have breakout seasons. Oh, I thought you were going the other way with it.
Yeah, I think, bold prediction, I think they're going to be a top 5 defense.
Whoa.
With Vic Fangio unlocking all of their strengths, I think the chemistry yeah, I think it's going to be something to behold.
I like it because there's just many people saying on the other side, well, maybe these Georgia players weren't as advertised because it's taking too long for them. Like they were supposed to immediately help, and it's been taking them a while. But you think this is the year where they become a ripe tomato?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Nakobe Dean's going to be one of the best linebackers in the league.
Whoa. Yeah, maybe you're going a little too far, Shane.
He may not even be a starter.
Yeah, I know.
He may not even be a starter right now.
Forget about Nolan Smith. Because we're looking at with 4 guys now from that Georgia team that were really supposed to pay immediate dividends, and they really have not yet. Carter early on in last season, and then he wilted.
I think having too many linebackers is a good problem to have. I mean, better than not having any at all.
Well, who said they had too many? we don't know if they have too many yet because we don't know if the ones that are going to start are going to perform.
I just believe that they are.
All right, Shane, I like it. You're very optimistic.
Has a high level of intelligence, and I think that he's going to really pick it up this year.
I like it. I like the optimism coming from you because that overpowers the stuff that we've gone over, where all these naysayers are out there going, they're 11th. And then the decline is there's going to be a decline from 11-6 because that's the way the numbers would roll. So I like to hear that out. That's an optimistic Eagle fan, Bill.
It is an optimistic Eagles fan. I like what he said that he thinks they're going to be a top 5 defense. I don't know if they'll get that high coming off of being the 30th ranked defense. Mm-hmm. But here's my concern with this team. I've heard a lot of fans talk about, well, the offense is going to be so good. Doesn't really matter how good the defense is. You've heard that before from fans.
Yeah.
Well, here's the problem, and I've given these stats before. The Philadelphia Eagles in franchise history, Mike, have never been to an NFC championship game without being a top 10 defense. They've never been to a Super Bowl without being a top 7 defense. And you look at the last 10 Super Bowl winners, 8 of the 10 had top 8 defenses. So I know we all want to look at the offense and think they're going to be dominant. I don't think you get to a Super Bowl without having at least a top 10 defense. And can they make that big of a leap this year with Vic Fangio?
You got to stop the other team, or else you got to score 35 points a game.
Which we thought last year, the offense is going to be so good. It's okay that they let both linebackers walk, both safeties walk.
Yep.
How did that work out for them?
No, you're right. But you got them winning 13. So, I'm the one that goes, I see 11. I don't see 13 with this team. So you explain how you see 13 with all these questions that we've just gone over.
I'm assuming, and I know what they say about assuming anything, but I'm assuming that Bryce Huff is going to be able to get after the quarterback. That Jalen Carter is going to take another leap forward. That Jordan Davis is going to show he was worthy of the first-round draft pick. I'm expecting a big year. Milton Williams, final year of his rookie deal. This is a big season for him contractually if he wants a payday. So I'm expecting those 3 defensive tackles to dominate in the middle, along with Bryce Huff coming from the edge, that hopefully that'll have a ripple effect throughout this defense. And you don't expect them to be a negative 10 turnover differential again. That killed them last year. They got to create more turnovers. If Chauncey Gardner-Johnson stays healthy, that's something that he brings to the table. So that's where I'm seeing the optimism. But this could easily go the other way. Easily.
Yeah, in my most optimistic periods, when they don't come very often, but in my most optimistic periods, I don't see 13 at all. I just can't. I look at the schedule, I go, no way, they're going to win 13 games. This is an 11 tops season that I see. And that's
an 11 maybe.
It's good enough to win a division.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
Because I don't expect much from Dallas.
Right. So that's I'm okay with that at this point. But I'm not like going overboard with 13. This team, I don't know. So many things would have to go right. Everything would have to go right.
Are fans putting too much stock into Vic Fangio, though? Like, you just heard that caller. A lot of people are acting like Vic Fangio, and I'm excited for the guy.
Yeah.
But it's not as if this guy's had the number 1 defense his entire career. If you look back at his numbers, Mike, over the last, 10, it's feast or famine. He had the 22nd ranked defense last year in terms of points. And then you go back to Denver. Okay, he was 3rd in 2021.
Yeah.
Then 25th. Then 10th. Then 1st. 9th. 24th. 20th. I mean, he's had some pretty bottom-ranked defenses. So it's not as if just him alone is going to get this defense into the top 10.
And that's added that the Miami players hated him.
They were celebrating when he left.
Right? So I don't know if that's going to surface at all. Let me ask you, Ray, is the camera on you when we shoot to you when you're talking?
Yeah, it is.
How come behind you there's a big Kincade and Salciunas thing?
That's a good point. We should probably fix that.
That's a good.
This Kincade Salciunas show?
Mike's got his eyes on everything.
There we go.
Look at that.
Mike Missanelli show.
The kid missed something.
I was told this was going to be the Bill Colarulo show with Mike Missanelli.
I missed that meeting.
Very upset.
Ray is obsessed with the topic that we're going to get into in the 11 o'clock hour. And I have a specific mantra about the issue that Ray's not going to like.
I don't know where you're going with that.
Ray is obsessed with a certain topic that I've noticed because he's put it on. He's put it on our show sheet for the last couple days.
You talking about Middleton?
No. But it is Phillies oriented.
Okay.
Felix in Tampa, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Felix.
Hey, man. Good morning.
What's up, Felix? How you doing?
Good. How you guys doing? Hey, I'm optimistic. Always am during the beginning of football season. Long-time Eagles fan. It's the only time of year I get, homesick because I used to go to a lot of home games. But I think that the defensive and offensive lines are pretty thin. I mean, we lost some big pieces. I think you guys talked about that a little bit. I'm hoping Fletcher Cox stays in shape. Maybe we can get him during midseason like we did, maybe a Linval Joseph deal or something like that.
Fletcher Cox. What?
Yeah, man. I know he's
my man's in retirement, but he's in retirement mode. He's traveling. He's not working out anymore. He's done.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Yeah, he's done, man.
Yeah, he's finished. He's traveling the world. He's going to lose weight, become a citizen.
I'm disappointed to hear that, man. Anyhow.
Fletcher Cox. Really? You thought if you sign a Fletcher Cox off the street, he would help you? Come on. Come on, Felix.
Hey, man, listen, I'm just talking about we're so thin on the defensive line, and he didn't have a down year last year. I mean,
whatever he had last year, he gave it last year, and that was the end. He knew it.
All right. So those are my concerns, the thin defensive line, thin offensive line. We did improve in the secondary, so I am optimistic about the year. I also look at the division. I'm not scared of the Cowboys this year. I'm not scared of the Giants.
Uh-huh.
I know Washington.
All right. Listen, Felix, you're optimistic, too. I like to hear the optimism. I just want people to dig in one way or the other. It's about time now we start flipping the switch and thinking football. It's August 20th.
I get it.
All right.
I'm flipping the switch, but we can't. Like you said, we don't have a good feel because we get the practice reports.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't really seen our.
You're right. We get these detailed practice reports. I got to give the people who cover the Eagles, I give them a lot of credit. They just load up with details for a practice. They've got every they got every play, and they report it. And I go, this is really nice because those guys are doing their job. However, it doesn't tell me a thing. Right?
I respect the reporters who are telling you about the different plays and the performances. It's the stats that I have a problem with. The stats, especially.
What do you mean the stats?
The Jalen Hurts stats. I mean, come on. It's
like what do you mean?
How many completions and completion rate and all that. First of all, if you know anything about football and you know anything about the quarterback position, it's less about his completion percentage in training camp and is he making the right reads? Is he going through the right progressions? How quickly is he getting the ball out of his hands? Now, it's all great to hear that Jalen Hurts looks good. I'm okay with those type of reports. But the completion percentages and the amount of plays without an interception, all that stuff, to me, it does nothing for me.
I totally agree. Fans are getting all this information, which is people are now trying to outdo each other by being the better reporters, but giving you more information because there's so much competition out there that fans select to go to a certain way. So I know they have to overboard it and give you daily reports. But I haven't felt that Eagle fans are plugged in yet. And maybe we need the first game to come before they can play. But it would seem I think that Eagle fans have been more engaged in previous seasons than going into this year. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I just go by feel every now and then on what I hear on the street, what people are talking about. I haven't really heard as much Eagle talk this fall, this late summer.
I think you're right, because even if you go back to last year, coming off the Super Bowl loss, I felt like there was more of a buzz. There was more people paying attention. Now, what I think's helped with this is the Phillies, because a lot of people in the city are distracted by the Phillies' success, and they haven't gone all in yet on the Eagles. But I'm with you, Mike. We got 2 practices left after today.
Listen, here's what I know. Maybe I'm wrong. This is an Eagles town. The Phillies take up space. I get it, and people are engaged when the Phillies are in the playoffs. But this is an Eagles town. This is 75%.
Oh, it's a football town,
right?
No doubt.
So I usually take inventory of what people are talking about, and you eavesdrop on conversations here and there when you're out and stuff, and even people that see me aren't talking Eagles. They recognize who I am. And what do you think? Nobody has said to me, "What do you think of the Birds this year?" Yeah, not one. What do you think of the Birds? That's usually the question I get.
But you're probably getting Phillies questions.
I'm getting a lot of Phillies stuff.
Now, do you think that's because the Phillies are so good that it's distracting people, or are people, Eagles fans, not as excited about the season? This is what I want to know. This is why we're opening up the phone lines to everybody. 610-632-0975.
I think there's 2 factors, and they both are the main guys. I think people don't know what to make of Hurts after what he did last year, and I don't think they know what to make of Sirianni.
So I'm not doing a good enough job.
Yeah, I think that's pulling people away from the main gig here.
The main thing.
Yes, the main thing.
Keep the main thing the main
Now,
thing.
we got some text on the Eagles. Ray, what are they saying?
We got Josh from Belmar checking in. This team is truly boom or bust. If they don't make the NFC Championship game, they should clean house and hire Ben Johnson, the Lions OC.
Assuming he leaves. He had an opportunity to leave this offseason, and he decided to stay in Detroit.
So if they go bust, that means Kellen Moore is no longer a candidate. Right?
But I'm not with that.
Unless
Would you say
they just give up 1,000 points a game and their offense still looks good.
But to that texter's point, not making the NFC Championship game is not a bust to me. If they win the division, win a playoff game, and then lose without going to the NFC Championship, like you win a wild card round.
Let's be realistic. Are they as good as the 49ers? Are they as good as the Lions?
I think they're better than the Lions.
You do?
I think the Lions maybe overperformed a little bit last year.
Yeah, I think the Lions are a growing team that's right now goes into the season better than the Eagles.
Now, we talk about Sirianni,
that's where my expectation. If I see that there are better teams, then I wouldn't be disappointed. I'd say, well, they got beat by a better team. But if it turns out that they go into the playoffs and they should be a winning team and they'll handle the 49ers when they have a chance to, well then I'm going to be very disappointed.
Well, there always will be a surprise team that you didn't expect to be better than they were.
I'm never disappointed when a Philly team loses to a better team. Where I get crazy is when you lose to the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, you were okay when they lost to the Astros. Because the Astros were a better team.
And I was okay with the Eagles losing to the Patriots with McNabb.
Oh, that game, though, man, they had it. The Patriots didn't play a great game.
I get it, and I was okay with them losing to the Chiefs. I don't blame you for losing to a team that I think is better.
You think the Lions are a better team?
Yes, I do.
Even with Dan Campbell? See, I think we talk a lot about Sirianni.
Yes, they're better.
I think Campbell is, I don't want to say a joke, but I don't think he's a great coach.
I think the Lions have stocked up to be a better team than the Eagles right now. Mike Missanelli Show. On the other side, Ray, obsessed with a Philly issue. We'll talk about it. The Mike Missanelli Show. I sent Ray a list of tunes to break out for our returns. It's going to take him a while to process that, though.
No country is my only request.
Might do a strictly country, Jay. Just to bother you.
Well, you can do that. I don't care. Look, I like variety, so it doesn't bother me whatever you play. I just gave you a few that I think have good intros that would good returns.
That's on the plan for this afternoon.
In my alt indie lithium type of mode. I listen to 3 satellite radio shows for music.
Really?
Yeah.
Lithium's one of them.
Lithium being one of them.
Alt Nation,
and Sirius XMU. My 3 go-tos.
Was that channel?
Sometimes I'll put Spa on my car.
Look at you. You need the Zen. I'm telling you, you need YouTube TV.
Oh,
You go to Zen commercial
I
breaks.
put the Spa music on if I'm in traffic or something. Stuff like that.
I just listen to old Mike Missanelli podcast.
That would serve you well. 610-632-0975. All right. I want to get into a Phillies topic here. First of all, the Phillies and the Braves tonight. The Phillies are an overwhelming favorite in Atlanta. And Ronaldo Lopez is no chopped liver. Wheeler for the Phillies. The Phillies on a money line are minus 134 in Atlanta.
Man,
You betting that one?
I don't know.
Now, you have to go with the run line because you get a better price. Minus 1.5 runs. The Phillies are plus 125. The Braves at plus 1.5 are minus 152. Two dispatch. So money line, Phillies overwhelming favorite. The run line, the Braves have the line.
Yeah, I don't know. This one I'm probably staying
They're
away
saying
from.
this is a one-run game. You take the Braves, you cash. At minus 152. That's the way it's going to be. The Braves are either going to win this game or stay within a run.
It's hard to bet against Wheeler. So if you're going to do the money,
All right, how about the runs? I never bet over-under points or stuff like that. So I would never make this bet. Over 8.5 runs. You like that for tonight's game? Like a 5-4 piece?
I'd go under.
That's plus 100 is over.
Yeah, I would.
So that's the better price. Well, minus 121 for the under 8.5 because I guess they figure it's going to be a pitcher's duel.
I'm probably going under.
You're gonna go under?
Probably going under.
All right. How about batter home runs? How you feeling about batter home runs tonight?
Schwarber leads it off. Why not?
Marcell Ozuna plus 280. You like that line?
For a home run?
Uh-huh. He's the favorite. He's at the top of the list. Kyle Schwarber plus 310.
I only like the Schwarber one because Lopez hasn't pitched in a couple of weeks, so trying to get one over just to get back in the groove.
Well, then
Schwarber sees that first pitch.
Do you like Harper at all to hit one?
I don't know what Lopez is going to look like.
Plus 460 for Harper. I mean, that's worth a couple shekels right there.
Especially because he's so well rested.
Exactly.
He made sure he got that 2 days of rest.
That tells me he's not going to hit a home run if it's that high. Plus 460? You got to be kidding me. For people who don't know what that is, you bet 100 to win 480 or 460. Castellanos is 480.
Yeah, why is Bryce so high?
I don't know. They're saying he's not going to hit a home run. That's what they're saying with that one. All right, so here's the Phillies issue. And we have the Eagle calls on the line, and we'll get to you in a second. I've noticed something about the short time I've spent with Ray. When he's really passionate about a subject, he keeps bringing it back on the show sheet. And he gives me the story, the packet, right? I think Ray is really obsessed right now with the Phillies retiring the numbers of certain players from the year 2008. Am I right, Ray?
Yeah, alumni weekend.
You are obsessed with you need to have the number 6, 11, and 26 retired.
That's right.
You go all three?
All three.
So you also got to put this into perspective.
And 35.
Yeah, I'd throw 35 in there, too.
But 35's already been worn.
Yeah, I don't like that Oscar Mercado was the one that broke the seal on that.
What about David Dahl wearing
Yeah,
number
also
35?
not a big fan
well,
of that
that's
either.
a disgrace. And so here's where I go with this, Ray. First of all, they should not be retired, the numbers. Only Hall of Fame worthy people should be retired. Now, Jimmy Rollins is the only player in that four that we mentioned who deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He's never going to get there because his voting totals have been minuscule. Right, so he's never going to get there. I believe that with his numbers, he definitely should be in the Hall of Fame when you compare him to any other shortstop, including Ozzie Smith, who's in the Hall of Fame. That Jimmy Rollins should be in the Hall of Fame, but he's not going to get in there. So my hard and fast rule is you don't give the number out, but you don't retire it either.
So when is it okay to give out number 11 again?
It's not.
Never.
Yes.
You never give it out.
But you don't retire it either. Out of respect, you don't give some guy coming up in the minor leagues to play shortstop number 11. Now, I might give away now, a lot of people think Utley should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't believe he should, and it's a shame because he just didn't play long enough. He was hurt too much.
Wait,
no, number 6. Listen, Ryan Howard was a very potent player for the Phillies, but you shouldn't retire that. It's number 6, should you?
No, but if you look at some of those numbers in there, those seasons that Howard had were impressive.
I get it, but you don't retire the number because of that.
Wait, are every number retired by the Phillies is the player in the Hall of Fame? Richie Ashburn, yes. Jim Bunning, Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Dick Allen's the one that's not.
Dick Allen is not. Mike Schmidt, Steve Carlton, Roy Halladay, Robin Roberts, Grover Cleveland Alexander.
What do they all have in common?
Chuck Klein, and then obviously Jackie Robinson.
What do they have in common?
They all are Hall of Famers.
Yes.
Except for Jim Bunning. Right? Is that the
Bunning's
only
in the
one?
Hall of Fame?
I think Bunning's in the Hall of Fame. I think
Yeah,
it's
he's in the
literally
Hall of
just Dick
Fame.
Allen's
Oh,
the one's
Dick
not,
Allen.
not in
Okay.
the Hall of Fame.
Dick Allen, you can make it should be. But out of deference to Dick Allen and all he went through in this Philly organization, that's like a give back.
You think so?
Yes.
See, I could.
See, to me, you retire you can't retire like the Yankees retire numbers like it's going out of style, but they're all going to be Hall of Fame players. Unless you're a Hall of Famer, you can't retire the number, but you just don't give it out to some like schlepper.
Here's where I disagree with you. Phillies 2008 World Series, you don't have a single representative. Don't you need Jimmy Rollins' number retired since he was a part of a World Series team?
One World Series? We're talking about one World Series. They should have won 2 more in that era.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Well, that's why they shouldn't be retired numbers.
It's the only World
They
Series.
won 1 World Series.
It's the only World Series the Phillies have had in 40 years.
Doesn't matter. They were good enough to win a couple in that era, and they lumped it. Especially in 2011.
I would retire J-Roll. Ray, you would retire all
you can't
three?
retire one without the rest of them.
Yeah, you can't retire. Listen, unless you get in the Hall of Fame, you should not be. This is very easy. It's a very easy decision here that I'm making.
But you're basically retiring them without retiring them.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand.
Because there's a difference between that. Maybe years down the road, you bring that number out again for somebody. You don't do it now. You don't do it fresh.
Yeah, I don't understand the difference on this one. If you're just saying let's not put it in circulation
Because they
now,
don't deserve to be retired.
I think they absolutely deserve to be retired.
They deserve to be put in a closet. They don't deserve to be retired.
They absolutely deserve
no,
to.
they don't.
When you
They're
end
not
up
in Hall of Fame.
When you go down the line and someone goes down to Citizens Bank Park and wants a representative of what happened during what some people considered a golden era of Phillies baseball, there is nothing right now. They're better than just Wall of Famers. They are better than the line of Wall of Fame. They might not be Hall of Fame, but if you go between that line of the two, they've qualified in my eyes.
He's very passionate about this. He's
Absolutely.
very passionate.
Yeah.
This was in Ray's wheelhouse when he was the little Ray. When they won that World Series.
That's what I was going to say.
And that's what resonates with him.
You got to put it into perspective.
Yeah.
Ray was
Right.
like 8.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Right?
it
Right.
bore an entire generation of Phillies fans.
Yeah. See, I'm not a big fan of the retired numbers unless you're like immortal. These guys aren't immortal. They're good.
In this franchise's history, they're
As I'm
immortal.
looking at
No,
the
in
stats.
the general concept of baseball.
But as
you
I'm
have to be
looking
immortal.
as I'm looking at the stats, man, Ryan Howard does have a case.
For the Hall of Fame?
No,
Not for the
for
Hall
a
of Fame.
retired number.
Oh, come on now, Bill. Stop.
Second in franchise history in home runs. Second in franchise history in RBIs.
Come on.
382 homers, man.
382 home runs should not get you a retired number. 500 gets you retired number. Come on.
He was a big part of that 08 team.
So
He was the big piece.
Do you hold it against the teams of the late 70s, early 80s that they only won one? Do you hold it against the guys of that team that they only won one World Series?
Any of those numbers retired?
Schmitty.
Yeah, I mean they are.
All right.
They are, but I'm curious
The
because
only
you're
number
holding
retired is the greatest player in franchise history.
absolutely
With that team.
If you
And
were to put
Carlson.
together a starting nine,
Larry Bowa should be in the Hall of Fame with his numbers. His number's not retired.
if you were
Number
to put
10 is not retired.
if you were to put together a starting nine for this organization's history, are those three not in it?
All of them are in it.
They're immortals
That
in the
doesn't-
context of this organization.
Does
You're not
mean
retiring
their
them across
numbers should be
baseball.
retired. We've gone too far with putting people in the Hall of Fame and also retiring their numbers.
Too
There's
far.
got to be some dignity to this.
Too far in putting people in the Hall of Fame in
Yes.
baseball.
Yes.
Baseball is the most selective process.
No, they've put baseball Hall of Famers in like crazy because they don't have like the best guy that is on the list from year to year goes in the Hall of Fame because they have nobody else to put it in. There's a lot of guys that don't belong in the Hall of Fame that get into the Hall of Fame.
That's because of the steroid era, though.
Think in
They don't-
baseball, it's
In baseball, look at the most recent Hall of Fame inductees. Just look at them. I'll let you do some homework, and I'll tell you who belongs in and who does not belong in.
okay.
You
Well,
go
sounds
by,
good
you
to
go
me.
by feel.
Well, then let
Okay?
me.
Does Fred McGriff belong in the Hall of Fame?
The crime dog?
Yeah. Does the Crime Dog belong in the Hall of Fame?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably.
He
not.
got in. Why did he get in? He was the top name on the list.
Okay.
That's how they do it. These writers. I am volunteering to be the all arbiter of all Hall of Famer retired numbers, and you go by feel.
All right, then let's switch sports. Jason Kelsey, Fletcher Cox. Do their numbers get retired for the Eagles?
Kelsey's should.
Because he'll be a Hall of Famer.
He's the best guy at his position ever in Eagle history.
Because Fletcher's going to be borderline Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he shouldn't have the number retired. Come on. 610-632-0975.
Donovan's number's retired.
It is?
Donovan's number is retired.
That's right. They put it on the Ring of Honor or whatever.
Number 5 will
That's
always
right.
love you.
Remember that whole speech?
Of course I remember it. We keep playing it.
And then Brian Dawkins, too.
Yeah. Well, B-Dog belongs. That should be.
He's a Hall of Famer already.
Yes. Mike Missanelli Show continues into this. Producer Ray Dunn is all upset. He's very upset. You can tell.
The inner child came out.
The inner child of Ray Dunn, 9-year-old Ray Dunn, worshiping 2008 Phillies, which only won one World Series when they should have won 3.
Whose jersey did you have back then, Ray?
Oh, Howard. Easily Howard. Big fan of the home run. I couldn't do it, so I was a big fan of the guy that could.
But listen, they gave a wonderful presentation, baseball presentation for several years.
I think
Now, whether their numbers should be retired,
I think Ray's told this story before on the air. When Howard blew out his Achilles is one of the worst moments of your childhood, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, I still hold against the Cardinals.
I was a columnist for the Philadelphia Inquirer then. While I was doing radio, I did Sunday, and I did that in a hotel room in State College. I watched that game, if you can look this up, my column after they lost that series.
Let's see what I could find.
My column in the Inquirer, which was this Saturday that they lost that game. I think it was the Sunday column. My Sunday column just blasted the Phillies for losing that series. It was disgraceful. You could lose to the Cardinals in that series. Anyway,
I'm trying to find it. There's a lot by you on here.
Yeah, I was a columnist for a while, and I was a writer before that. Then they brought me back in as a columnist. The Little League World Series, Ray. This is going to get you some research here. The Newtown Little League World Series team plays Nevada today at 3:00. Nevada beat Hawaii. Earlier in the ESPN telecast of the Little League World Series, they had a Nevada game. There's a kid on Nevada. His name is, I forget his first name, but his last name is Godin. He is the son of former Major League pitcher Chad Godin. Now, they kept showing Chad Godin in the stands as this kid was playing for the Nevada Little League World Series. And I'm going, ESPN didn't do their research very well here. I want you to Google Chad Godin and you tell me the first story that comes up about Chad.
Hold on. While he's looking that up.
Yeah, that's not good.
What was the story?
This would be he was hit with a lewdness charge.
He molested a woman on a gurney in an emergency room.
Who is this guy?
Chad Godin was a pitcher in the major leagues for 10 years or so, pitcher to Braves. He was all around the place, right?
11 years.
And I'm going, ESPN doesn't know the backstory, apparently, right? Because the last thing he was in the news for was this.
And this is his son?
Out of baseball at 30, yeah.
Yeah, his kid is a little leaguer. He plays for Nevada. So he was there. He was in the stands watching him with a Nevada jersey on. And they kept showing him. I was checking in, watching this kid. I'm going, the researchers got to figure, it was a notorious story that came out about him most recently.
He pleaded no contest to a reduced charge of disorderly conduct, was sentenced to 100 hours of community service and impulse control counseling.
They haven't shown him since. So somebody got to the ESPN people, say, hey, listen, dude, you can't really show him. It's probably not good for him to show because you're going to remind people of that story came out. You reminded me of it.
Jeez. Speaking of stories, for Philadelphia sports fans, the disappointments are like acid drips.
That's me.
Drip, 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 slowly eating away their insides and altering the DNA of future Philadelphia sports generations. It is the DNA of doom. The Mike Missanelli column on October 8th, 2011, after the Phillies lost to the Cardinals.
I ripped into them. I really ripped into them. I couldn't believe that they lost to the Cardinals. Just like I can't believe they lost to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Things like that really get under my skin when a team is prepared and are good enough to advance. You're letting down so many people. And I have people say, well, Mike, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And I don't mind when you lose when I value the team that you lose to as being better than you. I never blame a team for losing to what I think is a better team. But you lose to the Cardinals with that team that won. How many games did they win that year? 102? Or more?
They won 102. The Phils.
Franchise record, right?
102.
102 games. They lose to that team.
You said it is arguably the most disappointing loss in Philadelphia history, according to this.
I was right up there. I wrote that with emotion. at that time.
Yes.
When I watched that game, and the way it ended was miserable.
You said it was worse than 1980 when the Sixers lost to Magic Johnson. It was worse than 1993 when Joe Carter hit the shot heard round Ontario, and it was worse than 2003 when Donovan McNabb got intercepted in the last game at Veterans Stadium. Wow.
In retrospect, I have it as a tie. That loss to the Cardinals that year, because that was the last time. You knew things were going to change. That whole era was then going to change. You had to take advantage of that 2011 season. So I now have it tied with them losing to Tampa Bay, the Eagles losing to Tampa Bay in the last game at Veterans Stadium.
Yeah, and that Tampa Bay one was going to be poetic, man. Last game at the Vet, finally breaking through in the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
That one hurt.
All right, let's go to Chris in Pennsauken. Chris, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Chris.
Yo, what's up, Mike?
What's up, Chris?
Glad to have you back.
Thanks,
man.
buddy.
The sanity where somebody will blow towards somebody when they're acting out of control. I love it, brother. Yo, two songs for your playlist you should consider.
What do you got?
One for your faux pas that probably don't like you on air, which I love you. How about by 50 Cent? Many men wish death upon me.
All right, put that down, right?
Many men. 50 Cent. I like it. Good job, Chris.
And then you come back with 50 Cent, Mike. If I can't do it, it can't be done.
All right. Ray's taking notes. 50 Cent.
Yeah, man. Blair Capriati said, "What's up?" from Bristol too.
Man, old names surfacing.
Yeah, old names, old crazy boys.
Yes, sir.
As far as the birds go, I mean, I got to say thumbs up, man. Not just because I bleed 4 for 4. Ant made that up. I love him too. Miss him, but I just like Bill said, the youth athleticism compared to last year. Like, who was that cat that we got from the Titans that was going to? He started calling his own plays on defense. He couldn't cover my grandmother.
Kevin Byard.
Kevin Byard.
Yeah, CJ, DJ, whatever he calls himself today. Him on one leg's better than him. I love the two cornerbacks you drafted in the first and second round. And we got some athleticism at a linebacker. So if they make mistakes but they learn by it, at least we're going to go by. At least we got some people on the defense that are going to thump people. Bradbury, Mike, you don't miss games. You're probably watching down the beach throwing up. He shouldered a dude that was like 110 pounds, man, that cornerback. There's no way, man. And Carter, I think Carter is going to be a beast, Mike. I think he gets.
I hope he is. He's seen to really wear down, and that's because college is a little different than the pace of the NFL. You got to be up 18 games, so we'll see what he does.
And I got to tell you, I can't. And I'm not a big Jalen guy. I mean, I like him. I don't like.
Like him, don't love him. That's Steve-O, my old partner Steve-O used to say.
I love Steve-O, man. How about when you guys work together? He goes, yeah, you can call in. We got people waiting, and they had no call.
Yeah, I would say, he would. He would go. I would call him out. I busted his stones. I really did, and I feel bad about it now. But I used to do it for the impact of the show because he used to do all those radio tricks. He had all those radio crutches and sayings and stuff, right? And he would go, well, there's for the first time all day, there's an open line. You get right? And I go, no, Steve, we've had open lines all show. And he would go, whoa. I would do stuff like that. That was probably not nice. 610-632-0975. We do have a couple open lines now, though. You can get in right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. 11:32, Mike Missanelli Show. Here's how you get in, 610-632-0975. I put out the call for Eagle fans to really diagnose what they are at this point. I'm excited for the season, but I don't know how to feel about their fortunes this year. And I'm seeing a lot of feedback, like they're up and down with various publications predicting what they are all about. Some people have them at 11. There was a power ranking, ESPN had them 5th. And then there's this analytical story that is predicting they will have a decline from last year's 11-6 because the analytics indicate that. And it's based basically on point differential and how teams go from one year to the next. And it doesn't factor in, though, the new personnel that they add because it's hard to predict whether that new personnel is going to make a significant difference or not.
Yeah, he factored in a little bit, Bill Barnwell on ESPN, talking about can Cam Jurgens replace Jason Kelsey. He talks about Jalen Carter trying to replace Fletcher Cox. He does mention the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson move, and he said that Howie Roseman doesn't give him a multi-year deal last year, changes his mind this year, but it was after a season where Chauncey only played very sparingly in Detroit because of injuries. So there are a lot of question marks, but I do feel good about this team, Mike, and maybe it's just because we're starting to forget about what happened last year. You know what it was? Everything changed as far as optimism the moment they signed Saquon Barkley. I was on the air here. The news breaks that Saquon Barkley got signed, and the entire narrative of Eagles fans flipped like that. They were negative, they signed Saquon, and now everything jumped. But really, it's not going to be the offense this year. It's going to be the defense. Can the defense be good enough? That's how I truly feel.
I agree with you. Aside from that little offensive line thing and aside from the little slot receiver thing, which aren't little, you have to look at the defense and whether it's going to be improved. And I don't know. Like, on paper, you think it will be. But, I mean, who knows until you see them? And this is the frustrating thing about preseason. You don't see anything that you can come away with an opinion with, you know?
Very little. They don't play in the preseason. There's only one open practice, which is basically a joke of a practice anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I do feel optimistic, Mike, but there's one thing I don't feel optimistic about right now, and that's Nolan Smith, man. I still have not seen
Not strong enough?
I haven't seen enough from Nolan Smith. I know you could look at the stats and say he had a sack in each preseason game. I thought that was more about the scheme or a lack thereof from the offensive line he was going against. I just haven't seen enough from Nolan Smith to show he was worthy of a first-round draft pick and maybe a replacement for Hassan Reddick. They were calling this guy Baby Reddick when they drafted him.
Yeah.
I haven't seen enough. I do have my concerns.
I haven't seen enough from any of the Georgia guys. I got to be honest with you. Now, let's face it. They came here highly advertised and highly acclaimed.
Well, Jalen Carter last year, 3.5 sacks in his first 5 games. Then he gets hurt for week 6, and then only has 2.5 sacks the next 12. Clearly hit that rookie wall. I still expect big things from Jalen Carter.
All right. Have you ever been robbed by a seagull?
Yes.
On the beach a few times.
You have?
Yeah.
Right? This is ingenious. I was reading this story. This guy is selling seagull insurance. He's got like a food truck that's in the beach area. I think this is in Ireland. He is selling seagull insurance for £1 extra pound, which is $1.30. Let me ask you a question. If you go to the boardwalk and you order boardwalk fries, and I've been robbed of a fry by a seagull, they just swoop down and grab. Would you pay an extra $1.30 to get your food replaced?
No.
You would not.
No.
You would take your chances.
Although I was on the Ocean City Boardwalk this weekend, and the fries got very expensive.
Well,
I think it's like $13 for a bucket with a cheese.
When a seagull snatches a fry, does it spoil the whole batch for you?
Yes.
Because it does.
Yeah, I'm not touching the rest of that.
There you go.
Ah.
So the insurance then, you cash in.
Would you do the insurance?
Right?
I think about it.
$1.30.
I'm pretty cheap,
Well, how much
though.
are fries now?
I mean, I think it was somewhere in double digits at this point.
Yeah, it's
They
over
are?
10. It's over $10.
They're over 10.
From what's the famous place down there? Like in Ocean
Curly?
City.
Boardwalk
The
fries.
curly fries.
Curly
Yeah.
fries?
Yeah, I think it was. I didn't get it, but someone we were with got it for her daughter, and I think
Uh-huh.
it was $13 with the side of cheese. Yeah,
That's unbelievable.
it's very
You
expensive.
got to be kidding me.
Very expensive.
I thought paying $25 for a pizza the other day was high.
Where'd you go, Manco?
No, not down the shore.
Oh,
Local.
got it. Yeah, 25's are up there too. Everything's expensive,
Yeah,
Mike.
$25 for a pizza. All right, let's get back to the phones. We got Andy in, what is that?
I don't know.
What is that? What is IOQA? IOQA. What is that, Ray? You know?
Q is next to the W, so maybe Iowa was what?
Andy from
There
Iowa.
we
Oh, it's
go.
from Iowa. Andy called from Iowa. What's up, Andy?
Yeah, Iowa. That's right.
How you doing?
Yeah, it's going good. I'm just feeling a little cautiously optimistic. I'll say that. With Kelsey being gone, it's kind of nervous feeling because it's the unknown. You know, we've had him for 12 years, and he's been
He was such
reliable.
a stable presence. You're absolutely right about that.
And then you watch preseason, you see three different offensive linemen pointing out coverages when it was just Kelsey doing it. So there's all these voices, and Jalen don't know how to act, and he's getting a different snap and everything else. It's going to be kind of feel it out kind of year.
You know who played right
That's
guard
how I
last year? I
feel.
forget his name.
Cam Jurgen.
No, before that, or who's the guy they lost? The Samoan
Isaac
guy?
Sayamala.
So Sayamala used to point out stuff too. Like he had that whatever he was doing, he would turn back to the quarterback. He was pointing out something as well. Right?
Yeah, and he was involved in the silent snap.
No, it's a big loss for him, no question about it. And I think Jurgens is capable physically of playing a position. But you're right, the intangibles that Jason Kelsey provided for so many years is going to be tough, especially for a quarterback.
Andy,
Right, and he had the pull. He had the pull to tell everybody I make the calls and tell Jalen no, we're going left. And when Jalen tries to say we're going right.
Yeah.
Andy, down in Iowa, did you get a lot of Iowa games? What do we got in Cooper DeJean, man?
He could be a wide receiver, and he plays cornerback, so he could track the ball real good, and he's a really good returner. So I was surprised he didn't go in the first round, and it's an amazing pick. I'm excited to see him every Sunday. You know, I paid way too much for Sunday ticket again, but you got to do it out here.
All right, brother. Thank you for calling, listening from Iowa. Andy, man, it must be a transplant. I mean, imagine getting transplanted from Philly to Iowa.
I hope it's for work or something.
That's it. That's a transition, man.
Massive difference.
But he makes a good point about the blitz pickups, Mike. Because not only did you lose Kelsey, but what Kellen Moore has told us and what Jalen Hurts has told us is that for the first time, Jalen Hurts is going to be involved in making the calls for blitz protections at the line. So that's a big change from what he's used to.
That is a big change. I didn't know that.
Yes. So he said it's something he always wanted to do, but they had Kels, so he didn't have to do it. That's basically what he said. Now he's responsible, along with Cam Jurgens, and having that communication and trying to figure out the blitz protection.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
People still are very ambivalent right now about the Eagles. They really are. I don't think they know what to think.
Well, they haven't seen anything.
I know.
That's the problem.
It's Greg in Bethlehem. Greg, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Greg?
Hey, guys, just to dovetail on what you just said, we haven't really seen anything in the preseason, and we have a lot of new pieces, offense and defense. The reports from camp suggest that everybody's doing well, but, you have to take that with a grain of salt. So, we go into the season hoping for the best. But I don't know that you can do much more than that.
But see, I want you to dig deeper than that. I need to know how actual fans feel about this team. I know it's hard to project because you don't know what the new personnel is going to do. But your general feeling, to dig in your teeth into this issue, what do you feel about the Eagles' fortunes this year? What do you come up with in your head? Championship caliber or something less than that?
No, I mean, I think they have the pieces to be championship caliber, and they just have to fit together so that things.
You do think they have the pieces to be championship caliber? When you compare them to the other really good teams in the league, you think this team can win a championship?
Well, you have to make decisions based on potential and what you've seen in the past.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. You believe this team's potential with what they added, with the two different coordinators, with now a coach who's a CEO, with a quarterback who now is on a comeback year, you believe all that is good enough for them to be a championship contender? And if you say yes, that's fine. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see, but they seem to have a lot of good pieces, and if they fit together and they have the good coordinators, it seems like they have a lot of potential.
Like you put a lot of ifs in there, bro.
Well, I know.
Yeah. That's 4 ifs were in that sentence. I don't know if you can project 4 ifs to championship contender. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're asking if they could be, and I said, yeah, I think they could be.
Well, okay, but that's they could be. Anybody could be. At this stage, you look at any team, could be. But realistically, can they really? I don't know. I got to be honest with you. I don't see them a championship contender. They would have to really do some different things during a regular season for me to consider them a championship. I mean, they would have to show up real early and win like 6 of their first 7 for me to come to that conclusion.
There are a lot of ifs, Mike. You're right on that. But the positive of why I do think that they're going to be a championship contender is I don't think the competition is that tough in the NFC. Yeah, you still have the 49ers. But the 49ers are coming off the Super Bowl hangover. They have all types of issues. Their starting left tackle didn't show up. Their starting receiver didn't show up. They fired their defensive coordinator, so they're not in a great place. Then you got the Detroit Lions, who I don't think are that good. I think they overperformed last season. Who else are you afraid of in the NFC? The Green Bay Packers.
I'm going to tell you who I'm going to be afraid of. But I think it's really interesting that when you go to the ESPN website, the main headline on the homepage is, could Philly's season implode again? Barnwell predicts 5 NFL teams that will regress, namely the Eagles being one of them.
That was
right?
the article.
That's the main headline on the homepage of ESPN right now. Now, normally, Eagle fans would look at a headline like that and go, that's crazy. Are you hearing that today?
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
This gave me a lot of PTSD today. This Barnwell story, a year ago today, he put his 4 teams likely to decline in 2023.
Uh-huh.
And the Eagles appeared on that. He said at the close of that story that Philadelphia should still be a huge favorite to return to the postseason. I just think that trip will come with 10 to 12 wins instead of 14. And we're going to last year. Like, okay, they drop a little bit to that point. Is 12 really that big of a drop-off? And I remember trying to poke holes in just about everything he said. This year, I feel myself a little scarred from what I had seen a year ago, and I almost want to look at Barnwell like, oh no.
Yeah, I don't.
Is he giving me something?
People go look at him and like, well, maybe he's an Eagles hater. I mean, I don't know. He's reasoned it out pretty well in this story if you get a chance to read it. But the headline is like, could Philly season implode again? Barnwell predicts 5 NFL teams that will regress, and that's the Eagles are being one of them. And normally, Eagle fans would light up at something like that, right?
Yeah,
they wouldn't like that a little bit. But I think a lot of Eagle fans are going, yeah, he might be right.
I think it's a little PTSD from last year.
Yeah, and look, on the YouTube chat when we brought this story up earlier, people were saying Barnwell's a Philly hater. But if you read the article, he gives a lot of reasoning.
He reasons it out pretty well analytically.
The paragraph on the defense is enough for me. Last year, the big conversation going into the season was, well, the offense is just going to carry this defense. It'll be good enough. And he reasons through that again this year. Should the Eagles be better on defense in 2024? Yes. Are these moves locks to work out? Absolutely not. and gives you basically the reverse Jason Kelsey Super Bowl speech of it's the whole team. Like the whole defense is a
and
question
he's not
mark.
just he's bringing data in on how other teams perform. Like he's trying to indicate a trend. So he says the Eagles' Pythagorean expectation was that of an 8.6 win team. That 2.4 win gap between their actual record and their expected win rate is trouble. Just take the teams that had a gap of 2 or 3 wins by that metric and see what they did in those close games. After going 317 and 97 in one-score contest in the season that defied the numbers, those same teams went 157 and 197 and 1 the following season. In other words, they typically fell right back to what their point differential suggested about their record. And their point differential last year was not good.
+5.
It was +5. Meanwhile, the 49ers were what?
+193.
Well, and see, that could be overwrought by the fact that you made improvements.
Yeah.
But we don't know if they did make those improvements yet. Well, you can think they did, but we don't know in real time whether they did.
Let me try to make Ray feel a little more positive because he's having some PTSD.
He is having it.
You look at the Super Bowl season 2 years ago, they were a +8 turnover differential. And then you saw that number drop from +8 to -10 last year. That could be the only stat you hear and you know it was a worse season, a -10 turnover differential. But what he cites to Barnwell in this article, which is interesting, is that they had the 27th fumble recovery rate in the entire NFL, which he says is just a little bit unlucky. Because you go back, Hurts put the ball on the field 9 times in 2022, but they recovered most of them. Last year they didn't. So there is some bad luck mixed in there as well with turnovers. If they can clean up their turnovers, there's another if, but this is a big one. If they can clean up their turnovers on offense and create more takeaways on defense because they went from 27 down to 18, it's a different season. You win the turnover differential in the NFL, you win a lot of football games, Mike. So that's where I'm hanging my hat.
You can make me feel better with that. I just go to this defense, and it's something I've said a million times this offseason, and I'll say it until I see it. It's a defense built on hope. This entire defense is the idea that we hope things are better. We hope that you just can't, 31st in the league, sure, you expect to improve on that. Improve upon that to get enough for them to compete for something meaningful? That to me is the concern. Your best linebacker was benched by the Buccaneers last year. The only corner I've seen in this league be an impactful player is now 33 years old. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I'd love bringing him back, but he sat out, the last 2 weeks because he's already been banged up? And you replaced your best pass rusher from a season ago with a guy that we're not sure can fill the percentage of snaps that he needs to play. And we've talked about Georgia guys so much, and Mike, you said just 10 minutes ago, we need all of them to step up.
Ray's mental health not good today.
No.
The PTSD for the Eagles, and he's still really bugged about the non-retired numbers for the 28th.
That you were
Phillies.
retired, but not really retired.
He's got some angst going today. 12 o'clock hour. We got the news at noon coming up, and some Philly news as they enter a big series against the Braves tonight. The Braves made a move today. We'll talk about it on the other side. Mike Missanelli Show continues. 2 o'clock. I got my haircut yesterday with Ricky Vitello. Oh, this is one of my new tunes. Anyway, I went in to get the Ricky Vitello look.
Is that what you asked for? The Ricky?
I asked for a Ricky look. That's a yes. You know, yes.
I like the yes.
Yeah? There you go. That's good work by you, Ray.
It's great work by Matt Minaric.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Matt Minaric turned it around for you?
Yes, he was listening to the show. I heard you talk about music. He said, "What do you need? We'll make sure it's in there before the end of the show." So I will not take credit for the great work, Matt Minaric.
All right, good. Thanks to Matt Minaric. So he got the yes in there. Have you ever gone in to get? Well, now you're shaving your head.
That's a new development.
The question is irrelevant. Do you ever go blindly into a place to get a haircut, or do you
never?
Always, you never.
No.
You always have your person.
One person.
You have to.
I went blind yesterday.
Really? She or he did a good job.
Yeah, I said use a 3 clipper.
And that's it?
Yeah, just.
And then you got a nice lollipop.
I put the clipper on 3, shave the sides, and just trim the top. That's all. I wasn't in the mood to fuss and drive. The girl usually does, but she's in media. I didn't feel like driving. Like right after the show, I was tired. And
now,
on the way home, I stopped in.
But did you go into like a salon or a barber shop or a chain?
No, it was a hair cuttery.
Yeah, see that I think it's a violation.
I did one chain once because I needed a haircut, and the barbershop I've gone to my entire life was closed.
You know, I've done it before. Like I've been on vacation, and I go, I need a clip, so I'll go in. I'll blindly go in.
So I did that for the last time. I'm going to probably go back 20 years ago because I went in and they took the sideburns off completely. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
like way up above the ear.
Oh, see, that's a Jim Jackson look.
Yeah, like I'm like, I can't ever risk this again.
That's a Jim Jackson look. The Flyers announcer.
I can't risk this again.
He's got that look.
Ricky Metallico's texted. He wants to know what the Ricky is.
The Ricky is a close cross. I wonder has Ricky ever had his hair long? Ricky, I've only ever seen Ricky Metallico with the close crop look.
Yeah, he's had a pretty consistent look since he's been to Phillies.
Just a close crop look. And even when he was playing, I don't remember him having hair, like other than a close crop. And, you know, if you had that all your life, you like it, you're comfortable with it, that's fine. I went in and said, give me the Ricky. Now, she was an Asian woman. She didn't know who Ricky Metallico was.
Ricky never had the Matt Strom look. Did you ever have long hair,
She looked
Mike?
at me funny. Yeah, I've had long hair.
You used to do the long hair?
Yeah.
How long?
Yeah, how long? Like a mullet?
No, I had it like, like Seinfeld has it in the Seinfelds.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Gotcha.
I used to have that kind of hair.
You had like the Italian fro going?
Yeah, like when we did. If you look at all these old videos of the Great Sports Debate, remember that show with the Great Sports Debate?
Mm-hmm. I do remember
with
that.
Angelo and all the. I had hair like that then. I have to show you. I think I have a picture of it.
Al always had interesting hair.
Yeah, he did. It's time for the news at noon. Ray, hit it.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, Ray, what we got for the news? The news is where Ray, our producer Ray Dunn, goes around and finds some interesting tidbits that we can make dialogue out of. And I like this first one. Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, it's a guilty pleasure, I think, of both of ours. The basketball players on podcasts just kind of espousing what they believe on different things. And one of the biggest things that came out of the Olympic basketball, aside from obviously the America getting the gold medal, was Dennis Schroeder saying that European basketball is not about entertainment. It's just high IQ basketball. And that was, of course, compared to the United States team. Of course, America won gold. Kevin Durant, who can't help himself but to get the middle of all the conversations going on in the basketball world, tweeted out entertainment and IQ. Dennis Schroeder, along with whatever soundtrack he has going on in the background, had a response to KD tweeting that out.
But then they won, and Kevin Durant tweet high IQ and entertainment. For me, that's just being weak. Like that type of a star, and you have to say something to, you know what I'm saying, like a person like me, like who not even meant it to be negative. It was just what I see from both sides, you know what I'm saying? So I I didn't appreciate it. Not even appreciate it. I don't care. But at the end of the day, like that tweet or whatever he posted was because of me. And for me, it was never no negative stuff. Like, I respect all those guys, all GOATs. But to say that tells me how weak he is as a person.
Spothead is not happy. That's what I call it. But it's Schroeder, by the way.
You're talking
Schroeder.
Schroeder?
I
said Schroeder.
Pronounced. There's an E in there that has a double thing over it, which makes it Schroeder.
What do they call that double thing?
I don't know. You know what it is?
Isn't it like an octal or something like that?
I don't know what it's called. But
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, Spothead. He got rid of the spot, by the way. Speaking of hair.
Yes, he had it. It was what?
He had the spot. He had the yellow. It was a birth. It's a birth thing. Like, he had a yellow, goldish spot in his fro. And he colors it over now.
Yeah,
but,
I remember the spot.
Listen, I don't think he meant anything. Euros stick up for Euros, and there is an inbred hate, I think, American players of Euros. I have noticed this. If you like Gilbert Arenas on that stupid podcast he does is always anti-Euro because he thinks it denigrates the U.S. players that struggle to get to where they are, and so Durant has got the biggest rabbit ears of anybody. Like when somebody says something about Durant, he's got to snap back. Schroeder is an NBA player. He was just making a statement on the disparity between the NBA and how they play in Europe. But he did have he was sticking up for European basketball because I think he knows that people look down on it. The NBA players look down on it.
I'm with Schroeder on this, though.
Yeah?
You don't punch down. Isn't Durant punching down here?
But that's what Durant has punched down his whole career. He's the most insecure great player that's ever in the history of the NBA.
He is a little insecure.
Well, insecure. Yeah. Everything he gets credit. And every little thing he comes out like somebody says something about him, he's got to have an answer to it.
Now wait a second.
What?
Schroeder did go after the American team. They won. I think he's vindicated to have his moment.
I think he's trying to say that, here's the thing. Schroeder comes from a position where Euros get disrespected. All right? And he's a Euro.
But is he wrong? There's more entertainment in the NBA game than there is in the European game. Isn't there?
But he's saying that European basketball is about high IQ, insinuating that the NBA is not. Which is ridiculous, right? But it's because he feels put upon as a European player because he feels that kind of prejudice against European players. So he's trying to stick up with a compliment. You're all right. Well, yeah, those guys are great and everything, but we have the IQ. Like it's just a response to him feeling put upon. So Durant should just laugh at that because Durant and if you like. If I was Durant, I would have tweeted, "I'm not Dennis Schroeder." That's all. I would even put the entertainment IQ.
And it's the umlaut is what they call it.
The umlaut?
Umlaut.
Schroeder. It's Schroeder. A lot of people make the mistake of going Schroeder because that's how Americans pronounce it.
Hand up on that one. All right, moving on.
Yeah.
Go into the NFL. Tua sat down with Dan Le Batard and talked about difference between Mike McDaniel and Brian Flores. Let's just say he did not enjoy the Flores experience.
To put it in simplest terms, if you woke up every morning and I told you you suck at what you did, that you don't belong doing what you do, that you shouldn't be here, that this guy should be here, that you haven't earned this right, and then you have somebody else come in and tell you, dude, you are the best fit for this. Like, you are accurate, you are the best whatever, you are this, you are that. Like, how would it make you feel listening to one or the other? You see what I'm saying? And then you hear it, regardless of what it is, the good or the bad, and you hear it more and more, you start to actually believe that. I don't care who you are. You could be the president of the United States. You have a terrible person that's telling you things that you don't want to hear or that you probably shouldn't be hearing. You're going to start to believe that about yourself.
That is the perfect way to put it, too, because he didn't even mention his name. He just threw it out there, and everybody knows who he's talking about. And Brian Flores, if he did treat him that way, it's probably because his whole job security depended on Tua. And he probably got frustrated that he wasn't coming through for him, and so he tried to do the tough love thing. But that's a bad way. You can't treat players, especially in this day and age, like that.
Flores is from the Bill Belichick school, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, and he's a defensive coach.
Yes.
So it doesn't really work when you have a young quarterback.
No, the exact opposite is how you should be. Like Mike McDaniel, you can pump the guy up. The worst thing you can do to a guy is when he's struggling is to say you stink.
He's a character, by the way, McDaniel. You enjoy his press conferences at all? He's got like a real sarcastic way about him.
Yeah, I had an old school baseball coach at Penn State. Like he was real old school, like walk slow, like in his 60s, and all baseball salt, right? And we had this pitcher. His name was good buddy of mine. His name was Jimmy Farr. He was a highly recruited pitcher. He got drafted out of high school. Decided to go to. He was from upstate New York. His ball, he threw 90 plus, and his ball moved all over the place, which was a problem because he couldn't command the strike zone. He had natural movement on his pitches, so. He just couldn't find a plate. They tried to straighten him out a couple weeks, like going by bullpen sessions, the whole bit. They finally thought they had him straightened out. They send him out. I forget who we were playing. They send him out. He walked the bases loaded on 12 pitches. Our old school manager strolls out to the mound and yanks the ball from him. Boom, out. Takes him out of the game and berated him on the bench for 7 straight innings. Walk by him, we go, yeah, we brought you up here, big man. Okay, you suck. I couldn't believe it. But that's what old school guys do. You can't do that anymore to people. You hammer their confidence. Now, what did that do for that guy? Nothing, probably.
Nothing.
Right? He wound up getting drafted. He was a junior, so he had a good senior year. He wound up getting drafted and did pitch in the major leagues.
But I do think a lot of this, as far as Flores, is that Bill Belichick school, and there's a reason why most of Belichick's disciples have not had head coaching success.
Yeah.
Because you don't have Tom Brady that you can treat that way.
Yep.
What else you got, Ray?
We have one more thing on there, but we'll leave that one.
Oh, we're going to leave it?
Yeah. Well, I think we could play it coming up.
Okay.
I think it's a good Philadelphia sports topic outside of just the news at noon.
Oh, okay. I got you. All right. We'll save that one. Only 2 newses at noon today. 610-632-0975. See, Ray's a stickler for the time cues. That's what we all, in radio, Bill. You got to be a stickler for the time cues. It's very important. Mm-hmm. 7-5, The Fanatic. By the way, the 12 o'clock hour is brought to you by Service First Heating and Air Conditioning. Get 0% financing for 72 months, $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Boy, it's nasty when either one of those go out. You don't know where to turn. We'll learn more at servicefirsthvac.com. Our 10 o'clock hour, way back in the day, was brought to you by Window Nation. Take advantage of Window Nation's 50% off sale on all style windows, plus make no down payments with no payments and no interest for 12 full months. Just call 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION, or visit windownation.com. Phillies and Braves tonight, the start of a big series, and the Braves have countered the injury to Austin Riley. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks with a broken hand. Well, that's so annoying when you lose one of your players to get hit with a pitch. So guaranteed, Austin Riley now will have one of those hand guards that I don't know how you can swing a bat with those things on, but they do it. I guess it's beneficial rather than get a broken hand when you get hit with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, which is how he broke his hand. The Braves signed Gio Urshela to fill the third base void. Gio Urshela came up with the Yankees. He was looking like he was going to be a very good player. He hit an offensive wall, really good fielder, but he was released by Detroit, and the Braves picked him up. So now they have Gio Urshela playing third base, and our favorite ex-Philly, Whit Merrifield, at second as they face the Phils and Zach Wheeler tonight.
Braves are done. The Braves are done. The NL East has been over for a while.
All right. So, but you're still worried a little bit. You're still worried about the Milwaukee Brewers.
I'm worried about the Brewers or the Dodgers. Well, the Dodgers are tied with them right now. But as long as they finish in the top two, you don't play in the wild card round.
That is correct. And I still think the Phillies will finish ahead of the Milwaukee Brewers and maybe even ahead of the Los Angeles Dodgers, because that's the way baseball seasons go. They go back and they go forth. Let's go to Dave in Bucks County. Dave, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Dave.
Yo, Mike.
What's up, Dave?
I'm so excited you're back on the air, and I actually like the crew you got.
Well, thank you, Dave. I apprecied it.
I think Bill's the perfect amount.
He's all giddy. Listen to Dave. He's all giddy. Save that laugh. Go ahead, Dave.
I think Bill's the perfect amount of earnestness to counteract your cynicism.
Yeah, I got to break him in a little bit, Bill. I can't crack him yet. He's still stoic.
He is. He's very.
Yeah.
He's a great.
I can't crack him. He's a lawyer. That's the problem.
Dude, yesterday's show was elite. I was trying to keep score as the counselors went at each other over the.
Yeah, you know, how soon has that been forgotten, Dave? That little issue, nobody's worried about it anymore, right? The news comes down, Austin Riley's got a broken hand. Boom, there goes the pinch hit Harper thing. Boom, right out the window.
I still disagree with it. I do. I still disagree with it.
As far as the season goes, after how the previous couple seasons ended, I can't get too excited or too down over anything that happens now. I'll only be worried or, really confident like the second week, maybe the third week in September.
Okay. Listen, baseball, to me, I've seen so many baseball seasons where teams that are good hit a wall. The team that won the World Series last year had a hit a wall.
Totally.
Yeah. So, I don't even pay attention to these slumps as much anymore, because it's such a long season, and guys just whatever it is, physically or they don't come to the park with the right mindset, because it's just a routine that gets old after a while. And then when the season gets serious, they go back to the being good players.
Yeah, and despite our, the coming back down to earth after the All-Star break or the London trip, I still don't think another team's gonna. We have better pitching than every other, right, in a 7-game series. I just don't think we're gonna.
As opposed to who? The Dodgers?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. On paper, but there's two ifs. Well, there's actually three ifs, because I never know how Nolan's going to perform. Sometimes he's good and sometimes he's not in the playoffs. But the Ranger Suarez is the whole key to this whole thing. Now, if he doesn't come through and you have to anoint Christopher Sanchez as your 3, I mean, he doesn't have the playoff experience, so I wouldn't know how to count on that. So if everything goes the way we think it's going to go and Ranger Suarez snaps back, then they're fine.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm going to give Ranger another 3 weeks. Just if he can appear to be his early season form going into the playoffs, I'll feel real confident. But just so I don't forget it, can I ask you a couple of quick questions?
Sure, go ahead.
I was really excited when the prospect of Josh Shapiro of being the vice president. Do you think you could get him to call in?
Actually, I've been contacted by his people. So that might be a possibility. But listen, I'm trying to stay away from the whole political thing.
Yeah, but he's a big sports fan.
There's a couple conventions going. Last night it was a convention. I don't even watch it. People think that I just have one, I have one focus. It's like people say, well, your politics. My politics are this: accept all people. Don't be racist. That's my politics, basically. That's how I've defined my politics. But accept all people.
But yet you won't accept a fellow Paisan in Nick Sirianni. You won't accept him, Mike.
In this day and age, prejudice against Italians. Speaking of prejudice, I would be wanting to bring this up because the college football teams have been all ranked. Have you seen this?
I have seen some of the early rankings.
They ranked all the 134 college football teams. Penn State, I believe, was ranked 11. I don't know if you know how I feel about Penn State football. I'm not one of these happy Penn State football fans. The Penn State fan base is a very soft fan base that accepts better than mediocrity, but less than championship caliber, and it infuriates me.
I got them at 8, according to
they're 8. Okay,
ESPN.
they're 8. All right, now they're going to be in the playoffs because the playoffs have been expanded. But they couldn't for years get into the top 4, and people were satisfied with that. But here's the other side of that coin, since we're speaking of prejudice. Why is there a prejudice against Penn Staters for those who have not gone to Penn State? You know it is. You don't have to have a specific instance. It's just this feel that people are anti-Penn State. What is it?
It's the we are.
Okay, so you're a classic example. I can tell it in your voice. You're one of those.
We are.
Normally it comes from people who went to Temple. Ray, you went to Temple?
I did.
All right.
I'm a Temple law guy.
Okay, you're a Temple law guy, so you would apply too. People from Temple or people that didn't go to Penn State hate Penn State. It's like hating Duke.
I wouldn't say I hate Penn State. But sometimes the fans are annoying.
So what is it exactly that bothers you about Penn State? Here are the theories. Is it that Penn State sometimes puts out this aura of being holier than thou? Is that what it is?
There's some of that. In the pre-Sandusky era, there was a lot of it. Fans have been humbled.
Okay. Let's go to Ray on this because this is a classic Temple. There is not one person associated with Temple University that doesn't dislike Penn State. All right, am I right? Am I right, Ray?
So for me, personally, I'll speak for myself on this one.
Go ahead.
And I think you just distance yourself from the fan that I think of when I think of my tendency to be annoyed by Penn State.
Yeah.
It's the fan that acts like Penn State is in the upper echelon, in that top-tier college football world. They've been a step down from that because they have not been able to beat the Ohio States. Recently, have not been able to beat Michigan. Though that's, again, a recent development. They haven't been that top tier. We're in the playoff. We're in the, championship game type program.
Right.
Though there is an act from some of the Penn State fans as if the aura, they have that type of aura that is top tier.
Okay.
We're amongst that class.
I think it's deeper than that. I think it goes deeper than that for you. And I don't think you're scratching the surface on it. I think it goes deeper because of the concept of Happy Valley and the beautiful campus and this and that and the pristine air and the mountains and the whole bit. I think that whole thing comes into play when it comes to disliking Penn State. I want to get to the bottom of this prejudice.
Yeah.
In this day and age.
There's also, when you talk about Temple not liking Penn State, there's also an anger towards Villanova.
You're absolutely right. But I'm talking about strictly the Penn State prejudice. Why does it exist? 610-632. Seriously, I know you have it. I can tell. It's on your face. 610-632-0975. Back into this.
Fanatic Sports Up.
White Zombie. Is this part of the playlist you gave Ray?
Yeah.
He turned around quickly.
Matt Menard. Don't give me credit.
Matt Menard came through. See, that's more human than human.
That's what the song's called?
Never heard the song?
I heard the song. I didn't know.
Yeah, roll it, Ray. Roll a little bit. Rob Zombie coming up.
Rob Zombie, the director now.
Yeah. It's a classic.
I've heard it. I just didn't know what it was called.
Yeah. Here comes the yeah. 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 He's more human than human. That's why, Bill. All right. Thank you. That's good stuff, Ray. All right. This is taking barcode to a whole new level, Bill. Tell the people the news story you just saw.
Yes, reported by Bleacher Report. Oklahoma State University players will wear QR codes on their helmets this season that will link to the general team fund for every student athlete on the roster. Close shots during broadcasts and photos posted to social media are expected to raise the team's NIL value. QR codes on the helmets, Mike. What's your position on
First of all, the barcode is one of the great inventions of mankind. It has made life so much easier for people. Right? That's an underrated invention, the barcode.
Now, the question off that for me for you real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Do you prefer the actual menu in hand or the restaurant that has the barcode on the table?
I don't like the menus. But the barcode has made life a lot easier.
It has. It absolutely has. That's just one example that I know frustrates some people.
Because you go into a restaurant and they have the QR code, but then sometimes they don't have great service. So now you're waiting for your phone to load with the damn menu, and I'm hungry and I want to order.
Or a good menu online. Because some of them, the menu's online. And it's not a good,
No, I
not well organized.
I want a menu in my hand.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me for the menu, but I can see why they did it. It works for me to get it on Apple TV. The Apple TV for some reason doesn't linger. You have to restart every now and then. So they put the QR code on it. Boom. How is this barcode going to help raise the NIL money?
I'm assuming that since the link brings you to the general team fund, that you'll be able to donate.
You can just contribute through a barcode?
That's what it looks like. And then it'll go to the players on the roster.
Are there people regular people giving $1 to a political campaign that would do something like that?
I guess Oklahoma State fans going to try to give money to the team. I would assume that's what they're trying to do.
Because the coach just came out a couple days ago and said, "All right, no more thinking NIL, no more raising money for yourself." Gundy came out a couple days
Heck
ago.
of a missed message.
It is. It's a total mismessage.
It really is.
No more.
That guy's a wild man. That Gundy. I'm surprised that he still has his job down there with a lot of stuff that he's pulled. First of all, he should be fired for the mullet.
The mullet. Business in the front, man.
Let's go to Drew in Warminster. Drew, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Drew!
Hey, Mike. How are you?
The Penn State Temple dynamic. Temple people hate Penn State people.
Well, I think there's certainly some jealousy. I'll be honest, I'm a Temple guy myself.
Ray, did you hear that? Jealousy.
But I will say also, when I went to Temple, there was a lot going on sports-wise. The Phillies in the World Series. It was just a really good time. And I found a lot of my Penn State friends from high school were coming up more towards Temple, taking visits to Temple. So I think it's all, depending on the time. You guys mentioned before, pre-Sandusky, there was more of a pompous attitude by, Penn Staters. That's certainly how I felt. And they have humbled themselves. I think the dynamic has died down, certainly. But growing up and for most of my life, I think there was a jealousy of Temple guys, of Penn State guys. And
why would there be the jealousy? Because a city campus versus a country campus?
Partially, yeah, but the prestige of Penn State. Too. I mean, not that Temple doesn't have that, but Penn State really has a strong, core. They really are together. You can say we are Penn State. Everybody is really proud to be a Penn Stater. You don't always get that by Temple guys. So I think that's
that we are thing. I blanch at that kind of stuff. I'm not the type that's the Penn State rah-rah when you pass the guy on the street and he goes, "We are," and I'm supposed to say Penn State. You It's
Wait,
like,
is that a thing?
It's like a car that you drive the same car as somebody and you roll by them.
Oh, the Jeep Wave.
Jeep Wave.
Or they give you the beep. You know, like I don't roll that way. I think it's weird.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. Also, with going to the Phillies, I do think the Phillies are going to be A-OK despite the slump. Let me turn this off. I'm sorry, guys. So I do think we're going to be okay with the pitching. It's all up to Ranger, and even if Ranger isn't the Ranger we expect, I love the prospect of Christopher Sanchez stepping in as the 4 going to the 3. He's been excellent all year. Sure, you mentioned, Mike, not the experience, but I do think if he's pitching the way he's pitching now, we're A-OK. I do not see the Phillies missing a bye or missing making a World Series at the least.
I agree, Drew. I think you're the most sensible caller we've had today.
Appreciate that.
You put everything in pretty good perspective. Penn State, here's the thing about the Penn State thing. I can't handle the fact that Penn State fans aren't more demanding. Now, maybe that's because I'm a demanding Philadelphia pro fan, right? And maybe because I've done this my whole life where you hold teams accountable. I don't understand how Penn State people could be happy, and this kind of moves into the head coach. There was a guy that texted me or tweeted me a few weeks ago, well, how come you're not talking about Penn State football? This is going to be a really good year for them. And I go, people aren't interested in hearing about Penn State football. The only people that are interested are the people that actually have a Penn State connection. But with that said, the Penn State connection people don't hold that team or program as accountable as they should. And it makes me nuts. I hate going to inferior bowls every year.
They're getting there, though, don't you think?
No, they're not
they're
getting
a little fed
there.
up with James Franklin.
People say to me all the time about James. I'm not a Franklin fan, okay? I think he's more of a – he's like a, I don't know, whipped cream icing on a cake. You know?
What does that mean?
He's just the stucco on a house. Like he's not the bones of the house. If you know what I'm saying. Like he talks a good game, but in the end, he hasn't been able to build a good enough program to actually be in a playoff. And he's been there for how many years now? And people say to me, well, Mike, he's a great recruiter, but maybe he's not a great game day. I go, he's a great recruiter? Is he as great a recruiter as Ohio State or Michigan? And they go, no. I go, well, I guess he's not a great recruiter because the only thing that matters in the Big Ten is if you out-recruit Ohio State and Michigan. Guess who's ranked number 1 this year?
Georgia.
No.
Isn't it? It's not Georgia?
No. It was Ohio State. I think Ohio State is.
Maybe I'm looking at a wrong list here. I'm on ESPN's rankings.
The Athletic has Ohio State.
The Athletic has Ohio State number 1. Now, is that better than Penn State? Is Penn State that? Are they recruiting better than Ohio State? Ohio State is producing how many professional players per year in their program? How many is Michigan producing? And Penn State people just sit with it, and I don't get it. Like, am I underappreciating Penn State?
P.J. Mustipher, man.
Well, listen, they produce some pro players. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, not enough though.
I'm just saying. When at Ohio State, you're recruiting NFL caliber players. That's why you are better every year than Penn State. And that's why Michigan is better. And I don't understand how Penn State people can take it. And they always make excuses. Well, Mike, the campus is in the middle of nowhere, and it's cold, and you can't get to – really? What's not cold in Columbus? They don't have, what is it, balmy there? They have palm trees? It grow in Ohio the football season?
No, you should be able to.
Michigan, what are you suntan in December?
You should be able to recruit. Hey, listen, if it wasn't for Ohio State and Michigan, Penn State would be undefeated the last 2 years, wouldn't they, in the regular season?
That's my point. My point is
they'll never beat the good teams.
And see, and I understand why they like the coach at Penn State. Because he doesn't get into trouble, and he talks the right game, and he's this and he's that, and he fits what Penn State is all about. That's what they care about, that stuff.
Well,
more
Eagles
than they
fans
care about actually winning a national championship. They haven't won a national championship since when, Bill? And you know how I know that? Because I wrote a freaking book on it, and it's sitting on that shelf up there.
The perfect season.
That's correct. That was 1986.
They beat Miami, right?
That's correct. 1986. Penn State has not been, like, in 94, before they had the playoffs, they really should have been the national championship, and they got hosed. With Kerry Collins was the quarterback that year. But they haven't been able to win in 19. How many years is that? This is a potent Penn State football program. How many years are we talking about?
38.
38 years. 38 years, Bill.
But you talked about James Franklin, though. Penn State fans who are also Eagles fans, I think, are turning on Franklin because he almost got the Eagles in trouble opening his big mouth about Saquon Barkley. That would have been a disaster. If the Eagles would have lost draft picks because James Franklin wanted to show everyone how close he is with Saquon that he spoke to him before he decided to go to Philadelphia. That was ridiculous, man. Keep your mouth shut, James Franklin.
That's like at the bottom of the list of my problems with Franklin. I'm not. How he impacted the Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm not a Penn State guy, so for me, that's at the top of my list.
I think for Bill, the line he used about Sirianni is the way that Penn Staters feel about where Penn State is with Franklin. The devil that you don't know might be worse than the devil you have, or whatever line you keep using to defend your guy Sirianni. Like, for Penn Staters, I think people have just accepted, 10 wins, bowl game, like, we'll compete. Maybe one of these years will bounce our way.
I love having a conversation with somebody who says, well, Mikey wins 10 games every year. And I look at him like, are you an alien? Like, do you have, like, regular sports DNA that you would just be satisfied with something like that? So, in a lot of ways, like the anti-Penn State, happy-go-lucky, Happy Valley, I'm happy to be there guy.
Oh, we're going to get along great in that one then.
Yeah, of course. But that still doesn't explain the Penn State prejudice that you all have.
I think, to me, it's
misguidingly.
It's the aura of we're up at the top of the tier of all college football right now.
Yeah, well, I would feel that way if I were you, too.
Well, you feel that way about Notre Dame, don't you?
What? But they're holier than thou?
Yeah, you have a little bias towards Notre Dame.
I do. Now, here's who I have the bias with. People that have no connection with Notre Dame and adopt Notre Dame just because they're Irish. That's the problem I have. Like, if you're connected with Notre Dame, you have pride in your school, that's fine. You're a guy named, McDonald.
Yeah, and then you like to fight
and you're walking around and you have a little leprechaun tattooed on you. There's no connection. What, is there an Italian university I should be connected to?
To be clear, I have the same feelings about Notre Dame as I do with Penn State.
Do you? All right,
yeah, I'm not a huge Notre Dame guy.
Is there a spaghetti university somewhere out there that I should be connected to?
Spaghetti.
Marinara University. It's got the good tomatoes.
You're Irish. You're an Irish guy. You like Notre Dame. Like, well, why?
Well, St. Joe's, right? Are there a
what?
What's St. Joe's?
What?
Jesuit.
Jesuit, isn't that? No.
What is it called? St. Giuseppe?
I don't know where you're going with that.
I don't know where I'm going either.
It's trying to create something here that's not there.
It doesn't exist. There's no Italian university.
Nick and Briarcliff. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Nick.
Hey, Mike, Ray, Bill. Hope you're having a good day.
What's up, Nick?
I'm calling in about this Penn State thing because I seem to have this conversation like every year with my friends and stuff. And I think it's more of a generational thing. So these young Penn State fans, they're like delusional. Like this prestige that you come up with, when they used to be pompous because they were great. I don't know how great they were when a guy spent a lifetime coaching there. He's got one, and I would even say 1.5 championship because that one year, they were 1 in AP and the other one was one of the coaches. But they're just not, Franklin's not good. They're not a good team. They haven't been good in all these years. And these young kids say, you bring on Alabama. Like, you don't want to bring on any of those SEC schools.
Now, hold on. Now, just a minute. Just 1 second here. Now you're going too low for me. All right? They're a good program. They're not a bad program. They're just not good enough to beat two schools that you need to beat. That's my beef.
Well, what I think, and going back to that recruiting thing with Franklin, I think the funny thing is it seems like Michigan, Ohio State, yes, they can recruit. And it seems like Penn State, you get the leftovers that don't go there, and these kids want to play and have an opportunity to make the NFL. Like, how does St. Joe's prep players jump on board with Ohio State every year? And that's in your own backyard. Like, so he's not a great recruiter, and he's a horrible game day coach. You guys say he only loses to Michigan, Ohio State. They always lose to, like, Indiana one year, or they lose to
very infrequently do they lose to those teams, but I hear you.
Once a year.
Yeah.
Once a year. But I think it's a generational thing. I think the older Penn State fans, they're a little more realistic, and they see it. And, the young kids, they're just literally delusional. They think it's the greatest thing ever. And one of these years
because
they're going to get a championship.
they are fresh coming out of Penn State. Listen, Penn State is a really good place to go to school. And when you graduate, you want to stay there. That's how nice it is. It's so different than – it's like a utopian society. That's what the young people that leave Penn State think it's so great. And then you get a little older and you go, and reality of life hits you. And you realize that Penn State really is kind of like a Jurassic Park amusement ride.
But, I mean, I'm not sure, Mike. You would know better than I, but don't they have, like, the biggest alumni?
Yeah, I think they do. I think they Penn State alumni is a healthy alumni, which this is what I don't get. Again, I'm from here. So if I grew up in the middle of Pennsylvania, I wouldn't feel this way. I'm from here where I go, the object is to win. This is a school that has a lot of resources to win, a lot of money to win. And I don't get why they can't be in a national championship playoff. I just know it's incomprehensible to me. So there's my thing. But I will acknowledge that there is the Ray Dunns of the world who have a Penn State prejudice.
I don't think it's that big of a prejudice.
Yeah, you got
I don't really think
you got one.
I don't spend a lot of time thinking about Penn State. That's what Bill said. You put words in my mouth now.
But Ray, I'm with you where I would say I don't have a big prejudice against Penn State. However, I will admit, and I want you to admit this as well, you enjoyed when Ohio State and Michigan beat them, didn't you? Because I did. I did.
This is why
I enjoyed
it. Comes out of your pores.
Yes,
I knew it.
I enjoyed it.
I like a little parody.
I could read it on your face.
Yes, I enjoyed it.
And you know what? It comes from jealousy.
Maybe it is.
It comes from jealousy.
I don't know what I'd be jealous of.
Because you didn't go there.
I didn't try to go there.
Yeah, you didn't try. Because why didn't you try?
Because I was a Division III football player.
Okay.
So I went to a Division III school.
Okay, so in the overall scope of things, you missed out on a Penn State experience by going to a smaller school.
I did, and I've never been there.
You hate it.
I just
no. See, now this is where we're going too far. This is where the Penn State attitude starts to catch too much for me.
This is it. So Mike's
I got into Penn State. I got into Temple. I didn't want to be in the middle of nowhere for 4 years. I wanted to be in the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah, such BS. People, I didn't want to go in the middle of the. Why wouldn't you be in the middle of nowhere? You know how much you learn about yourself when you actually leave this area.
I grew up in the suburbs. I went to the city. I was going to say my hometown and Philadelphia are two different things.
Yeah, so if you got accepted by Penn State and Temple, where would you have gone?
I got accepted by both. I went to Temple.
You did?
Yes.
You didn't go to Penn State because you were afraid to go away from home?
No, that's not going away from home.
Why wouldn't you have wanted to go to Penn State?
Experience city
life. It was all pristine and beautiful.
I wanted to experience
major
real life,
college football program and the whole bit.
I want to experience the city.
There's not one advantage you could have by going to Temple over Penn State.
Yes, there is. Something beyond just my college campus. I wasn't going, let's go out to Altoona this weekend.
But you would have snapped back to reality right away. You would have come back here to live anyway. You didn't have to go to school here. Also, you could have learned about different things by going away from school, living in the middle of nowhere, meeting these rural people that grew up on farms in Pennsylvania that you had no idea they existed. That's how you learn about life.
There were people, I don't know if you realize this, from Temple that also came from other places than just the city of Philadelphia.
I will say something that's going to really tick people off. Most of the people that choose Temple over Penn State did not get accepted.
I can get you my acceptance letter.
By Penn State. I want to see your acceptance letter.
Okay. I'll produce that for you.
People are, I can't believe he's saying, these Temple people out there want to kill me now.
Yeah, well, the phones are buzzing now.
Of course they are.
Phones are buzzing.
I always love to light up Temple people when it comes to the Penn State Temple thing.
So you're saying
I love Temple. I love the concept of Temple.
No, don't back down now.
I love their basketball program. I think their football program should be disbanded because enough already. All right? Enough with it.
Don't back down now.
610.
Don't be nice to us Temple grads now. See, Ray?
Yeah, I understood what he was trying to do. He did it for about a half hour trying to bait me and go that way.
I always get the crinkle nose from Temple people about Penn State. It's a crinkle nose. Doesn't matter what. And I go, okay, you didn't get in, huh? And that's my answer to him. If you don't give me the crinkle nose, I won't have anything to say.
Wait, I want Ray to clarify. Did you get accepted to main campus?
Oh, yeah.
Penn State? Okay. Because there's a lot of people who get accepted, not main campus.
Correct. 610-632-0975. Why couldn't you have been a walk-on at Penn State? Just think about that, man.
I thought about it. I was a long snapper, too.
Division I football, you go up there, you make the team as a walk-on. Boom. What a story. Bill Colarulo, Nittany Lion.
But instead, I got to start as a freshman, so I'd rather do that. I considered walking on and doing long snapping because I was a long snapper. And I was good at long snapping, but I wanted to play. I wanted to play a position.
So you went to Harcum.
Went to Gettysburg.
Played football for Harcum.
Gettysburg College.
Mike Missanelli show back after this. You were riding me today, Ray. My go-to band. 1 o'clock hour of the Mike Missanelli Show. It's brought to you by Ferguson HVAC Line Conklin. Attention HVAC contractors for equipment, parts, and supplies for every heating and cooling job. Visit one of Ferguson's counter locations in Ben Salem, King of Prussia, Pennsauken, or Westchester. All right, so Bill, we went over all kinds of issues today, including the issue that we started the show with, which is combining the concerns of the Philadelphia Eagles with the concept of whether this fan base believes in the Eagles, on top of the fact that they were analyzed by Bill Barnwell, ESPN, who goes through all kinds of analytics, and the conclusion is that they will take a regression this year. Not a progression, a regression from 11-6. And in the story, it almost suggests that they're only going to win 9 games. And that has had really very little impact on the Eagle fan base. I thought it would really awaken the fan base today. But I think we're just in a situation where we're just having to wait for the season to see how good they are.
Well, fans haven't seen much. That's the problem. They're hearing all the positivity coming out of training camp, which is good. But there's really nothing for them to react to yet. But this Barnwell article, it does raise some concerns because he bases it off of a lot of information. Point differential last year, they were 7-3 in one-score games, which is usually not sustainable the next season. Usually these teams take a massive drop-off. And there's just a lot of question marks. I mean, we had callers earlier saying if this, if that, if this. There's a lot of ifs that have to come to reality for this team to be successful. But for whatever reason, I'm also positive, Mike. I think they're going to be a lot better off from the coach's perspective with the new coordinators. I think they've added a lot of athleticism to the defense. The defense certainly has more upside this year. You would agree with that. You look at the defense compared to last year at this time, there's certainly a lot more upside with how good the defense can be. You didn't have that feeling last year.
I agree with you. But we're also taking liberties with some things. We are taking liberties with a cornerback who is 33 years old, by the way.
Big play Slay?
Yes. And the opposite guy who didn't play last year.
Does he have you blocked on Twitter, Slay?
No, I don't know why.
Because I'm blocked.
He blocked you?
And I think it was because of our post-game show.
Really?
When Seth went after him.
Oh, Seth did go after him. Did he block Seth?
I would believe it. I would have to believe it. But yeah,
I don't know. I don't know that he blocked. How would I know that?
I guess you'd have to. What's his name on there?
You would have to tweet him, right?
It's big play.
Yeah, I've never tweeted.
Big play 24 Slay. Yeah, see, look, you're blocked.
I'm blocked?
No, me. I don't know about you.
Oh, you're.
I don't know about you.
I don't know because what did you try to tweet at him?
Nothing. I did nothing. I'm guilty by association.
Well, how did you know he blocked you?
Because
how do you know that?
Somebody tagged me in something a couple of months ago, and then I clicked on his name, and it says you're blocked. And I'm like, why the hell does Darius Slay have me blocked?
Huh?
Are you blocked as well?
I didn't check.
But I think I'm guilty because Seth went after him about not tackling in that 49ers game, and then I had Seth on my podcast when I had my podcast.
And you embellished it.
We talked about it that week, and I think he just blocked
so
it.
if I go to his account, I can tell if I'm blocked?
Yeah, it's Big Play Slay 24. No, Big Play 24 Slay. Big Play 24 Slay.
Big Play. Are you upset that he blocked you?
No, I was just surprised by it.
Big Play 20. Wait, do it again.
Big Play 24 Slay.
Big Play 24. Okay, here it is. Nope. Well, I'm not blocked.
Wow.
You believe this?
I think this is personal.
You believe this?
I think this is personal for you.
And I've talked nothing but
blocked.
I've talked very highly of Darius Slay. I have said I think he's an extremely underrated player in this city. I think he gets more heat from fans than he deserves. I think he's in a very good corner. And I'm blocked and Mike's not. You believe this crap?
Yeah, you don't like that at all. Yeah, there was a video that somebody posted, Quinton Mitchell, Quinyon Mitchell waiting his turn during the drill, and Darius Slay says, "Yeah, Q, LOL." That's it.
That's what you're missing. That's the content you're missing, man.
You are missing. And then PFF, Philadelphia Eagles, Vontae Maddox versus the Patriots with all his grades, 15 coverage snaps, 11 yards allowed, 1 interception. Darius says, yeah, Tay. Triple exclamation point.
See, I'm missing great content.
With a voice, a guy speaking emoji.
But I do think that Slay is underrated in this city because of stuff like that, though. Because he does like to go out on Twitter and defend himself. He likes to talk about how good I played when the defense didn't play well. But he is very well liked.
No, we got into a Twitter beef. He just didn't block me.
See, I've never even beefed with him.
Yeah, I mean, we were beefing. I said he didn't have that great of a year. He was elected to the Pro Bowl based, I said, not on merit. And he took exception to that on Twitter, but he didn't block me.
Yeah, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. It has to be because of Seth. I'm blaming Seth. It's all Seth's fault.
All right, 610-632-0975. So basically what I'm saying is I need to know from Eagle fans how you feel about their fortunes. Bill Barnwell says this. Their point differential is indicative of how a team goes down. They don't bounce back the following year. In fact, they go down. And he backs it up with statistics and examples and how the Eagles went 7-3 in one-score games, and those games may not have been close as they seemed because. And then he looks back at week 1, and then week 4, and then week 9, and all those kind of things. But again, it doesn't factor in the new players they've added and how they're going to gel, and it doesn't factor in the quarterback with a rebound year. Mitch and Phoenix, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Mitch. Yo, Mitch. Yo, Mitch, you're on, buddy.
Hello.
Hello.
That was a sound drop.
I don't know. Let's put him on.
The hello, I thought was him.
That's Bernie.
Yeah, that was Bernie.
Yeah,
hello.
That's Bernie from. It's a good. Huh? It's a good hello.
Huh? Here ya.
Bernie was the best.
That was my grandma when she tried to give you something. Here ya.
I gotta put up one thing. Me and I talked about this for the last couple of days, and I've forgotten. And I know I'm going to get some people who have information on this. I've been cooking and having a pantry for a lot of years in my life, right? For the first time last week, I found these little mites in my grains and pastas.
What do you got going on in your house?
It's the freakiest stuff. I saw in my rice, I saw these little black spots.
Ooh.
And I go, what is this? Just bad rice? And further examination, it was like a little mite of some sort, a little bug.
Wait a second.
And in my pasta, I got the boxes in the pantry. They're open box.
And they're in there too?
And they were in my pasta because I boiled some pasta and some bugs came to the surface.
All right, so you found it. You found it before you ate any of this stuff.
Yes.
All right, that's good.
Yeah, I found it. But in every one of my pastas, I tried another pasta. It didn't look like I went through the pasta. It was elbow pasta. They must have been hiding in the elbows.
Oh.
What are these things, and how do I get rid of them? Well, what I did, I immediately ordered the containers. I'm like an old grandmother. The containers, like pasta, rice, flour.
Then you can put them out on the counter and like little decoration too.
Yeah. Yeah, that turned me in. So anybody know what these things are?
You get the little chalkboard and you write what it is on it and put it on the front. Nice.
Yeah, they give you a pen in the set. It was an Amazon.com. They give you a white pen that you put. I feel weird doing it.
What's happening to Mike's food? He's got no tomatoes.
I don't know what
mites in his pasta.
I don't know what these little things are. I got to do some research on it. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues. Tunes now. You know this band, Bill?
Oh, let me hear it.
My go-to band.
I don't got it. I don't have it.
Called The National.
I would not have known that.
The Day I Die by The National. That song is.
This is a lithium special on Sirius Satellite.
This is not a lithium band. This is more of a indie band. They've been around for a while. But
So this is on your
go-to band.
Sirius U channel?
Yeah. Yeah. No, but the National have a very low profile for being a very famous band. It's interesting. All right, so programming note, first of all, on the Mike Missanelli Show. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and I know I advertised yesterday that we were going to start General Knowledge Wednesday because by popular demand, people want it back, and we were going to do it differently where it was going to be the audience versus Ray. But we're not prepared yet station-wise to do it. We have to get all the ducks in a row with the promotions department and what do you call it? The production of it.
But it is coming.
It is coming. It will debut next Wednesday. I know people are going to be disappointed because they were looking forward to it tomorrow. I was too, but we've been held off by the just radio things.
Yeah.
I need to study. Basically, what it comes down to, I need to study.
Well, we have to prepare production-wise for it a little better than just haphazardly. So when it comes back next Wednesday, it will be perfectly produced.
Yeah, production. We had to get prizes, right? We need prizes involved.
Right, theme music, like the whole bit. The things that I don't really think of in radio world have to be done. And we have to coordinate with our promotions people who were caught off guard by it.
And I need to study.
Yeah, I don't know if you can study for trivia.
I was going to ask you a question today.
I don't think you can do it.
I was going to ask you a question today because I keep hearing callers, and I think we may even be guilty of saying this too about the preseason. Well, you got to take it with a grain of salt. You got to take it with a grain of salt. I wanted to ask Ray if you knew where that saying came from. Do you know where it came from, Mike?
No.
No.
Do you know, or are you just asking us?
I actually looked it up.
Okay.
Because I've heard take it with a grain of salt so often. It actually comes from an old recipe by the Pontic king Mithridates to make someone immune to poison. So he came up with this recipe, and included in the recipe was a grain of salt. So then they started using it when you would say things, well, you got to take it with a grain of salt, making you immune to the poison. Doesn't really make sense of how we use it.
Only one grain? It's hardly worth it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
1 grain of salt? Like minuscule. Like
Well,
a teaspoon would not make kill the poison?
There were multiple things in the ingredients, but one of the ingredients was a grain of salt.
All right. In any event, I've been told that my bugs are rice weevils or a grain beetle. A sawtooth grain beetle. Here's my question. Because obviously to get multi-grain beetles infecting all your pastas and rices, they would have to lay eggs. Where does the first beetle come from? What is this, just a beetle hanging around and you decide to pick my cupboard?
This is the chicken or the egg argument.
It is. Like, where does the original beetle, like, what is it, just appear in space? Like,
It probably came in on you, or you have a pet?
Yeah.
Maybe it came in on your pet. Who knows? But it probably came in from somewhere and then laid some eggs in your grains.
Yeah, that's the part that I was already dreading us bringing up.
The
you got
laying
the
of eggs?
beetle there, but how do you see the eggs? How do you know there's not eggs in the grains and the pastas?
Listen, between this and Mike's tomatoes, we're not eating at his house for a while.
Yeah, obviously, the eggs were in there, and they had I use pasta fairly regularly. I've never had a problem. But
I know what it was.
What?
You admitted on the air last week that you steal the brown bags from your local supermarket. I wouldn't be surprised if they put eggs in your bags, Mike, to get back at you for stealing.
Yeah, I don't put the brown bags in the cupboard.
Yeah, but you put your...
They crawl up to my cupboard?
No, but you put your macaroni
I don't know
in there.
where the original the original source of the eggs comes from. That's what I got to find out. Now, I scrubbed my whole pantry. I used the bleach and the whole bit to get it clean, and now I got to use the containers, and I feel like an idiot. I got to be honest with you. Wait! This day and age, I thought you could leave a box of pasta in your cupboard with an open lid.
This day and age.
So I thought the same thing till just now. Now I'm going home and I'm going to check everything out.
This is the first time this has ever happened to me, and I've had a cupboard for a lot of years. I've never seen these little mites. That's good. Gigi in Williamstown. Oh, no. This is Bill's Uncle Gigi. What's up, Bill?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
What's happening?
I've been listening to both you guys for over 20 years. I don't know many people could say that.
That's right.
That is true.
Bill in the living room. How was he in the living room? Was he pretty good?
He was the best.
Yeah?
He was the best. And just to give you a quick update on the spaghetti, when you get the mites in the spaghetti, they come in the cardboard box.
Yeah.
And usually if you boil them, they come to the top, you scoop them off, and then they're good to go.
Oh, you eat it? You can't eat it, Jay?
No, you can eat it. They're not. Yeah, I've read on it that they are not. They will not affect you in any way.
Little protein?
No.
But I'm not eating that. But I boiled the pasta as it was boiling. I saw these little things. I'm not eating that pasta after that.
Yeah, well, you look at the date on the box. If it's more than a couple of months,
it's not more than a couple of months. I eat pasta. I don't leave pasta in there more than a couple. It doesn't last a couple of months in my cupboard. I usually, I do pasta once a week, maybe.
Yeah, it's not a killer. But I guess the question I have for you guys is, I've been hearing a lot about the tush push. They're going to get away with it, and it's like this was their identity all last year. I mean, this was a major part of their offense. 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. It was almost automatic. Do you see the team getting away from that, and just because they got Barkley? It just doesn't make any sense.
No, in fact, I think he helps it. I mean, that dude pushing you from behind is a help. I think they just do it so well. The technique is so good.
But the issue is Kelsey. Because what made it so effective, yes, Jalen Hurts being as strong as he is, but Kelsey got so low.
I get it. The offensive line coach can't coach Juergens that way.
We're going to find out.
I think they'll still do it. I think the quarterback is powerful. The center is a little weightier than Kelsey, and he's got the best offensive line coach in the league, and he's got a really strong Saquon Barkley behind him, right? And the tight end. That they won't have a problem. They've got the perfect components for it.
I just hope they don't get away from it, because it just seemed like to me it just continued so many drives where most teams, if they're 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, they won't even go for it. The Eagles were almost automatic all last year. I just hope they don't get away from it.
I think they'll be fine.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wish you guys best of luck.
Geez, you want a minute, man? Tell me a Bill story.
Well,
you got Bill's uncle here, yeah?
About Bill. When Bill was younger, I was an ice hockey coach, 7 and 9-year-olds. And I remember taking Bill to the Rizzo rink in the wintertime when it was an open rink. It was so cold that when we used to the kids would put their water bottles on the boards, and it would freeze solid.
Oh.
Guys have frostbite, but Bill, just like my other nephew Frankie, and whatever they touch, they do well.
Yeah,
they're just
Frankie,
tremendous athletes.
Get Frankie to call
and the family's very proud of him. I got to tell you.
I'm sure you should be proud of Bill. What's cousin Frankie like?
Thanks for checking in, G. Frankie's like me. We're like brothers, man. Yeah. But I'm an only child. Oh. But so that's my mom's brother, Gigi.
Okay.
She's got another brother, Mark, and then Joe, who passed away, unfortunately. And then she has a sister, my Aunt Nanny, has one son, Frankie. So we were like brothers growing up.
I love how you got the nicknames in there. Uncle
They're
Gigi,
all nicknames.
Aunt Nanny.
So Gigi's name is Lewis. His dad, my grandfather, also named Lewis, but he goes by Gino. He's Gigi. Nanny's name's Eleanor. She goes by Nanny.
A typical type.
Yeah, we have all nicknames. All nicknames.
All right, Mitch from Phoenix is back with us, unfortunately. Mitch, what's up, Mitch?
I heard that, Mike.
I'm sorry.
Come on, dude.
I mumbled it. Go ahead.
When you were away for a couple of years, I carried this station.
I was on vacation for 2 years.
Yeah, you were away.
I'm on vacation.
2 years and 3 months.
Pretty long vacation. I had it in my contract.
I can guarantee you, Mike, that the tush push, or whatever you want to call it, is not going to make or break the Eagles this year.
Yeah, but it's a good weapon for them. I mean, 3rd and 1, it's like...
weapon. It's not a weapon.
Of course it's a weapon. What are you talking about?
It's a silly play that somebody came up with
And because you got Kelsey handing it off to the quarterback, and you had a tremendous, big, old, strong line, it worked for a half a yard.
Well, it's a weapon then.
Every drive was first and 9.
It gets you a first down. Right? How do you say a play that gets you a first down is not a weapon? There's a lot of teams that, when they run that tush push, a lot of teams would punt in that situation.
The only time that thing should be run is when you're down at the goal line, okay?
Mitch, do you watch the Eagles at all?
Oh, come on, Mike.
Well, then how do you not see that the tush push was a weapon for them?
Well, you want to call it a weapon. I call it whatever.
It's a play to get you. It's a play to get you a first down, a weapon.
Can we move on from the tush push?
See, here's what you do. When I beat you up on an argument, you want to move. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got a basketball team there that's getting ready for a big year. We need to talk a little.
Talked about him yesterday. Did you listen to the show yesterday?
No, I was away yesterday.
See,
I had things to do.
See,
yesterday.
right away. We talked about him yesterday. I went through the whole roster. I went through the new acquisition of Yabusele.
Yeah,
and I said they should start him because a 4 is a guy that doesn't have to contribute when you have a big 3. And it gives them proper balance.
Who's the guy? I didn't catch your name.
Yabusele. He played for France in the Olympics. Did you watch the Olympics?
The Dancing Bear.
All right, you watched the guy that dunked on LeBron from France?
We got Yabusele. He's on our team.
Yes. The news doesn't come out there in Phoenix?
Oh, you're right. Yabusele's a hell of a player.
All right, see? You happy?
I'm very happy, Mike.
All right, buddy.
Take it.
All right. Here's Mitch.
The tush push isn't a weapon. You saw other teams trying to pick up short yardage last year.
Why do you think they would have a problem with it, even though it's not Kelsey?
I don't think they'll definitely have a problem with it, but it's a transition. Kelsey was what made that tush push so damn good.
The offensive line coach is not going to be able to coach that well enough with a new guy. It's a priority for him.
Well, hopefully we're going to find out because I want them to run it.
610-632-0975. Back after this. Liking this music, man. My other go-to. You never heard of Manchester Orchestra, Bill?
This isn't
Bill,
familiar.
we gotta work with it.
This isn't familiar.
Yeah. 610-632-0975. That's how you get in. Let's go to Dom on a cell. What's up, Dom?
Mike, how are you? Bill, Ray, how's everybody doing today?
How you doing, Dom?
I'm good. I don't really talk football too much. I'm more of a baseball guy. But when you guys started talking about the tush push, something kind of clicked in my head. Now, I always wanted to know, asking the football experts, Bill in particular, because I know I've talked to Bill about this. I don't understand why the Eagles don't have these predetermined formations where they get to a 3rd and 1, not a 4th and 1, but a 3rd and 1, where they go into maybe the tush-push formation and then take a shot downfield, because it's so automatic on 4th and 1. If they get an incomplete pass, I'll just try to get something big out of it, and then if it fails, get it on 4th and 1. I never understood why they always go for it on 3rd and 1 when it's so automatic on 4th and 1. Could you guys kind of talk to me about why maybe they don't do that?
That's an interesting way of looking at it, but you still, 4th and 1, you still are incurring a risk. I understand that you will usually convert that play, but 4th and 1 makes it sudden death. So 3rd and 1, at least you can reserve the right to, if you get stopped, you can do it again. That's
it's a good thought. The issue is, and I like Dom's approach, saying line up for the tush push, but maybe run a play off of it. The issue, though, is you don't want to lose yards. Because if you lose yards on 3rd and 1, you're not picking up the first down, you're punting.
Well, he's saying throw it down the field.
Yeah, throw it down the field, but you can also maybe get the other team to burn a timeout because they don't know what's coming. So if they see you line up with 3rd and 1,
but if you line up, here's the thing: if you line up in tush push formation, how are you going to get that guy out there that quick? You know, to complete a play that you're talking about.
You get to the line really fast. I mean, you know it's coming. They know it's coming. You may have 15.
Yeah, but you got to in that formation. You got to stack everything. So out of a stack, how are you going to get the receiver free?
Well, everybody just stands out. It's like an audible.
Yeah, I know, but you still got to get off the line of scrimmage. So you're saying call a quick audible and run the quick play out of it?
No, I'm saying like you line up and then you maybe got 15 seconds and then everybody stands up like they do and then they just go back into their normal position. You get to the line with 20, 25 seconds left to go in the play clock, and then maybe do a fake
and then shift into a formation where you're going to throw a pass.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I don't know. The defense isn't going to be able to adapt to that.
Well, they may end up burning a timeout. They may do it, but they expect the tush push coming. So
I don't have. It's not a bad thought, but to run it out of that. Hold on a second here, I messed up. To run it out of that formation, you would have to have a shorter pass play. Maybe you get the tight end, but the tight end is relied on to do the tush push.
But they
who do you slide out there?
If my memory's right, didn't they do this last year, though?
They
pitched it? Yeah.
Yeah, they did it once. But he's saying, throw a pass down the field. You're not going to be able to throw a pass down the field. It's going to have to be, some kind of a swing pass of some sort to get a guy out that way.
But what he's suggesting is you come out in the tush-push formation, and then you shift, and now you spread, and worst case scenario, they call a timeout. The defense has to use a timeout. If not, you just run a play, and then you come back on 4th and 1 and pick it up.
The defense can adapt. If you have that much time, they can also adjust as well. When you go into that shift, aren't they going to adjust?
Yeah, what you'd have to do...
They have time to adjust at that point. You're not going to be able to do it with 3 seconds left on the...
But what you'd have to do is maybe you're bringing in a different personnel where they think they're going to bring in their heavy package, and now you spread them out. But I don't know.
It's such a sure play, I wouldn't mess with it. Like a 3rd and 1, instead of overthinking it and saying, well, we can run a pass play out of this formation, you just do it. You convert the first down and you think about another play.
And to Mitch's call earlier saying it's not a weapon, the reason it is you can literally average 3 yards of play, and now you're in 4th and 1, it's an automatic first down. That makes things a lot easier on an offense that you're basically starting every drive first and
Yeah, I got you. Phillies tonight against the Braves, a big series that could have been bigger if Austin Riley didn't get hit by a pitch, and now he's out for the season. And Gio Urshela has to be the third baseman, along with Whit Merrifield as their second baseman. But I wanted to bring up, we hadn't brought this up today. We did bring it up in the context of an earlier story, but this was a more recent story on Middleton, doubling down on his team, getting out of a slump. He said that... okay, enough is enough, and now let's start playing ball again. I think that's a terrible message for an owner to be sending. Terrible.
You don't like that Middleton even spoke?
Because here's the thing. No baseball player who ever climbs into the batter's box wants to fail. Like, there's nobody on earth who doesn't want to get a hit. It's just hard to get a hit. So when an owner starts clapping around saying, all right, enough of this slump, let's start playing baseball like we did before, it puts undue pressure. And he shouldn't be saying stuff like that. There's no reason for him to be saying stuff like that.
What we love about Middleton,
it's time to start playing like it's May or June. You can't click your fingers and tell a baseball player to go back to playing when it was May or June.
But what you love about Middleton is this is an emotional guy who says kind of where he says it in the article. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's more of a fan. You want, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but you want more of the Jeffrey Lurie approach. Lurie doesn't speak. He talks one time a year at the owners' meeting, kind of gives the State of the Union about what occurred in the season before, and that's it. Middleton's not that kind of owner.
I don't like it, and it doesn't help. Are those players supposed to come in? Oh, my God, the owner said we better snap out of it. Like, what? That's not going to help anything. It doesn't help. Here's what he said. I can't recall a Phillies team that was as good as our team was through July 11th, struggling the way this team has struggled beginning July 12th. The first week was bad, but that happens. The second week was worse, but that happens. By the time it got to the third and fourth week, it was like, okay, stop. Really? Just, okay, stop? Hey, you know what? We've been intentionally playing poorly, so I'm down the owner now. Let's go back to playing the way we played in May. It doesn't work like that.
Well, let me ask you. You're looking at it from a player's perspective. Is Middleton... Is this a little bit calculated? Is this toward Rob Thompson? Saying enough's enough with the patience and the even-keeled attitude. I need you to do something. Because we were asking, or at least I was last week when they were struggling, saying do something. Change up the lineup. Bench Turner. Do something that's going to wake these guys up. Sounds like Middleton wanted the same thing. So maybe this was directed towards Rob Thompson a little bit.
Listen, I don't think an owner should ever. He's got really good people. Right there. He's got a good general manager. He's got a good manager. Okay? Baseball is one of those sports that you can never predict or you can never turn on and off. And this story says Middleton doesn't self-identify as a baseball man. He ran his family's tobacco company before selling it for $3 billion in 2007. Now, he has the right to comment on a poorly rolled cigar. He doesn't have to, because he knows if a cigar is poorly rolled. Baseball, you can't predict why guys are going bad. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, but look, he can do whatever he wants, man. He's the one signing the checks.
I think the best thing that came out of this, and in the Inquirer article, that he could see it, he was overly emotional, and he resists meddling because of that. That's the best thing that came out of this. He doesn't want to meddle because he knows his own limitation there.
But isn't he meddling by saying that? See, I don't know what the payoff of that is. Well, okay, that's enough. Let's start playing baseball like we play. Don't you think those guys are trying to play like that?
Oh, yeah.
It just doesn't happen in baseball where you know what, tonight, I'm trying harder. I'm going to try harder tonight. Like every other night, you get in the batter's back trying to survive against a pitcher throwing 97. Like, that's not bad. But you weren't trying then. Now I'm going to try tonight.
That's why I don't think what he's saying was directed towards the players. It was directed towards the manager. Saying enough's enough. You got to do something.
What can the manager do?
Change the damn lineup.
Oh, you're talking about changing the lineup and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I think that he spoke and he shouldn't have spoke.
I think he sees himself as like, I don't know, like cool Uncle John here, where it's like, hey, yeah, we as an organization have been giving you the whole, like, relax, it's fine, messaging from down there. Up here, I'm just as upset as all you fans. I'm just like you guys.
Yeah, what is it? Is that a fake bonding?
I think it's probably a genuine bonding, but I think that's why he's having it
fans?
right now, because I think he sees fans that are frustrated with the way it's gone, and he's like, hey, listen, they're doing the baseball people are doing the baseball things, give you the baseball answers. I'm just like you.
Yeah.
I think this is a little
maybe.
calculated for me.
The story says, this is a story by, who was it by? Was it in the Inquirer?
Scott Lauber.
Oh, Scott Lauber is a good man.
Scott Lauber did for the Inquirer.
Scott's a good man. He's in Middleton, also listens to Sports Talk Radio and shares many of the callers' sensibilities. Well, if he's listening to Sports Talk Radio right now, John, cool it. All right, that's what I would say. He's passionate with the hyper-competitiveness of a former collegiate wrestler. I said he's a former collegiate wrestler, where you can actually influence the result by being stronger than your opponent. Baseball, you can't.
No, but I don't disagree that Middleton, with his frustration during that rough stretch, I felt that something needed to be done, and clearly so did John Middleton, and Rob Thompson eventually did do something.
Right,
is it a coincidence?
Turner a night off.
Yeah, and is it a coincidence now that Turner's hitting the ball pretty well? It worked.
I don't know what a coincidence is in baseball. I have no idea what makes players hit from one day to the next. It's just baseball is just so weird that you can never predict. Even if a day off will give a guy a fresh look. It just so happened that he had a couple hits the day after. Like, it's more coincidence to me than anything. All right, so here's the series: Wheeler versus Ronaldo Lopez tonight. Who do you like, Bill?
I'm going Phillies. They're going to win tonight. Wheeler's been dominant.
Take the Phils on a money line at minus 137 the last time I looked on the money line for the Phils tonight. With Wheeler
I don't
against Ronaldo Lopez.
I like that better than minus 1.5 because I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game.
Okay. Aaron Nola will pitch against Max Fried, who has I don't know what happened to him. He used to be a very consistent performer. He's no longer, and the Phillies rake him. So Aaron Nola pitches Wednesday against Max Fried. Who do you like?
See, the problem is I know the exercise you're doing. I'm going to like him in all three games, but I don't think they're going to sweep.
Okay. So which game do they lose? The third one, which could be a TBA. It's currently TBD.
It'll be Sanchez.
It could be a bull or Christopher Sanchez. As long as the lefty comes out of the weekend feeling normal after throwing 99 pitches. This is the way it works anymore. You throw 99, you might be wrung out for your next start. But I agree. I think that Sanchez will pitch again. But he's pitching against their surprise pitcher,
Spencer
Schwellenbach. That's right. 2.86 ERA. I'm thinking they lose that game.
That may be the one they lose. Well, look, if they win the first two, they'll probably rest three of their stars for game 3 because as long as you win 2 out of 3, right, Mike?
Yeah, that's fine. Again,
I'm being sarcastic after what happened with the Nationals.
But I happen to think that winning 2 or 3 at the Braves in this series would be perfectly fine. They're going to miss Chris Sale in this series.
Yeah, they lucked out there.
I'll take 2 or 3.
Honestly, I take 2 or 3. I'm even okay if they win 1 or 3. Because I don't see the Braves.
No, you?
I don't see the Braves catching them.
Mr. Bryce Harper should pinch hit to win the game against the Nationals after you won 3 straight. You're going to be okay with losing 2 to the Braves?
I'm not going to overreact if they lose 2 or 3, is my point.
How about you, Ray?
What about the pennant chase, man? What about all that? We're 1 game here, 1 game there.
I think losing 2 or 3 in Atlanta
Here's what I'm talking
about.
This is the difference. You had an opportunity. I'm not saying to bench your players and lose 2 of 3. What I'm saying is I'm not going to overreact if they drop 2 of 3 in Atlanta to the Braves after coming off winning the series. What I didn't like against the Nationals is you had an opportunity to try to tie up the game, and you decided you were going to wave the white flag and lose the game and keep your stars on the bench. If they lose these games with their stars, for whatever reason, I'm not going to overreact to it. I just don't think that you waste games. You don't have scheduled losses when you're in a pennant race.
And they're clearly not doing it. They moved up the entire rotation to take on the Braves.
That's why I'm not going to be upset. That's why I'm not going to be upset.
Why not?
Because they're at least trying to win.
They're coming with their best.
Because at least they're trying to win.
I think if they lose 2 or 3 in Atlanta, that's a bad thing because it's, again, against a good team that you're not performing against. It goes back to that whole thing. You have to beat good teams. And the last month, good teams have gotten them. And then they have to go to Kansas City after this. They need to win 2 or 3 in this series.
So if they drop 2 or 3,
I'm going to be very disappointed.
You're going to be overreacting when we're on
I'm
the
not
air?
going to overreact. I'm just going to be very disappointed. I'm not going to take it in stride.
They'll lose 2 or 3. They'll still be 5 up in the East.
No.
It'll depend on what the Brewers and the Dodgers are doing.
It's all about your profile. Tonight at 3 o'clock, actually, I'm going to rush home for the Little League game. It is Council Rock Newtown versus Nevada. Minus 125. I'm setting the line, Bill. You like it?
I like it. I'll go.
I got Newtown minus 125. You like it?
I do, and I got Ray minus 150 that the mites are out of Mike's house.
Oh, I'm going plus money on that.
Yeah, the mites are gone. I get rid of them. I'm okay with that. Stay tuned. Ricky Metallica coming up next with Tom Alford. Have a great night, everybody, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.